What's up, boys?
Fellas,
Hello.
how's it going?
Yep. Boom.
Good to see you.
Is this what we're doing? Oh, right.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know where the camera is. That's
Well,
I gotta say, Pat, that's a very French-sounding song. Like, can I say
it?
that? Like, the music sounds French. Like,
yeah.
Is that a thing?
Just missing a big
Or am I just being?
sacre bleu. Yeah, it's actually streamers from Twitch. They're on Twitter also called Mojo Risen Jam. They made this song for us a few years back. But we actually have this is for We Habs. It was actually for Non Réclamé au Balotage back then. But we have Steve, Critical Labs fan, I think his handle is, working on a song for Habs N Dabs right now. Can't wait to release
cool.
that one. Yeah, super nice.
Yeah, that
I'm
could be
just saying.
fun.
I noticed when I heard, I'm like, that has to be a French band. Like,
It's just because they are French.
It just has a French sound to it.
I remember whenever I was in elementary school, there was this French rock band that would come every year, and we tore that place up. Like, we ripped the roof off of that gym every year. French rock band. I forget what they were called, but awesome.
How big were they?
How big were they?
Yeah.
4 people.
I
A guitar,
wonder,
a
man.
bass, drums, and a singer.
Damn. It's probably just Jean Leloup and his fucking stoner friends.
I don't know what that means. Anyway, Trege Wilson's
a-
here, everybody. Habs Unfiltered,
Hi.
the hockey writer, Mr. Bicep himself. No introduction needed.
Bergie arms, Bergie arms, Bergie arms.
Classic.
He still hasn't arm wrestled me, so I don't know.
Did you actually try for
I think
that?
he's scared.
Maybe in Nashville, buddy.
I put a thing out there, and the funny thing was when we were at the draft in Montreal, he was literally 10 feet away from me talking to Al McInnes. And I looked at Blaine. I said, "Should I go over there and ask him if he wants to arm wrestle?"
That would be hilarious.
We did.
Did you
too.
I
see
can
it?
see the fucking TSN cameras zooming in on you guys too.
Did you guys see the boys from Habs Fan TV tried to get selfies with Bergie not long ago, and he categorically refused any picture with anyone wearing Habs gear, man. That breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Breaks my heart too.
What he did tell him though is, I'm past that. I'm with LA. You know what I mean? Personally, I'm like, come on, who cares? Like, who cares?
The only thing I didn't like about it is because Montreal was there playing LA. If it was like
Right.
then like if they just a random Habs fan meeting him up in Anaheim or something and like LA's playing Anaheim, I get that. But we're there to play your team, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't that was the one thing that got me.
But that could have been a reason too. Could have been because they were playing Montreal. He's with LA now. Maybe he was just like, hey, let's separate the two for now. And I like your Chris
Turn the
Tierney
page.
jersey you got there, by the way, Brian. Your Chris Tierney jersey.
Yeah.
Solid.
I'm going to have myself a Gurianov. I'm going to have myself whoever wears 15, 13. Like, I got quite a few, the next 27.
I have a Jonathan Drouin laying back there, man. It's actually
Yeah.
Well, I got I'll
Gauching
put
it.
it this way. I got a Cotton Gammy jersey. I got the retro reverse, not this year's, but the last year's. And
Yep.
as soon as I got it, for some reason I just knew he was gone. I got a Weber jersey. I got a Price jersey.
This is still my
So-
favorite, man. Nothing like it.
Look at the front. The front is
yeah.
the best. Yeah.
You got enough likes to get that, didn't you?
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have paid for that.
But for Christmas, my wife got me a Jack Eye jersey, which I really wanted.
Nice.
And I got a Suzuki, the new retro, like the We Habs.
That's
there,
the one
new
I
retro
have.
one,
Yep.
Suzuki.
That's the
Very
one I
cool.
have behind
Yeah.
there, the Suzuki.
I think I think I'm going Gooley next. I think that's my next one.
Goalie or Jack
Yeah.
Eye is my next call too, man.
Actually, I'm wrong. My retro reverse is Caulfield, and then I have a Suzuki red one. That's what I have. Yeah.
All right, there's a good segue. Long-term extension or bridge? What's going to happen with Cole Caulfield?
There's no bridge, man.
There's
I
a
think
bridge.
he's getting. I
I
think he's
think there's
getting
a bridge.
8.
Yeah,
I think he's getting 8 for 8,
I
or 8.
I
8
personally
for
think
7.5, or 8 for 8. One or the other.
I think if it was going to be that easy, it'd be done
It would've-
already.
Yeah, he's going to cost more than 8 for 8.
Even if it starts with a 9, I would still give him 8 years. I think his agent is really pushing for a bridge, and now that this injury has happened, I think a bridge is probably smart for both sides right now. I'd rather have him for 13 years at the end of the day than just 8.
So the injury,
Or-
talking about that, was he in a normal season? We're fighting for a playoff spot. I don't think he's getting that surgery at all.
No, he said that. He actually said if
Yeah.
they were playing for a playoff
The
spot,
injury is
he
a
would not.
non-factor for me for the contract.
Yeah.
But if he's going into a negotiation with 40-plus goals in a season, it is absolutely a factor for the negotiation. It's 100% a factor.
If he hits his
maybe
50,
not.
he was
Yeah,
on
yeah.
he was on pace for 48 goals, 47 or 48 goals.
Yeah.
So say he hits 50, he's asking 9-10 million easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
And I'm like, life isn't fair, right? So the fact that he is getting the surgery and that it is going to affect the negotiation, it's just facts of life at this point.
Life's not
I
fair,
think-
man.
Life's not fair, man. I honestly think he's gonna. I think it's best for him to get a bridge. I think he's looking for a bridge. As long as you
It's
don't
gonna
deliver him
suck
to
for
UFA,
us, man.
like do
Signing
best.
for 2 or 3 years is gonna cost us fucking 12 million down the road. I fucking hate it.
Oh
man.
well, if he costs us 12 million down the road, it means he's put up 2 50-goal seasons in that bridge.
I'm
So
a fucker.
true.
I'm
That's
a
true.
dreamer. I was hoping he would settle for a team friendly deal, something close to Suzuki money and term, man.
I
can't see
personally
it.
think he's going 8 for 8. That's what
That
I think
would
it's
be
going to be. And I think you're right. I think the hold the bit is they're saying, well, let's see about a bridge deal, see where we can meet. And I think Ken Hughes, I think it's the type of guy. He's like, nope, I stick to my guns. This is what I want. You know, we have the control here. You know what I mean? You guys don't. It's this, or I mean, if push comes to shove, maybe they switch things up a bit. But I don't think they should take him to UFA. If they're going to do a bridge deal, you take him to a year before his
Oh,
UFA.
that's 4 years
Yeah.
max with a bridge deal.
Yeah.
No question about it. Yeah.
Yeah, you take him right to the year. He's still an RFA on his last year of his contract, and then you go from there.
Yeah, exactly. Let me ask you this, Treg. If it did start with a 9, would you do it for 8 years? If he wanted 9.5 for 8 years, would you do it?
Not at 9.5. There's not
So-
enough evidence. There's not enough evidence for me to sit there and say he's worth the same amount of money as say a. Well, what did Robinson get? What did Robinson get in Dallas?
Just over 8, I think, didn't he?
Yeah. So he's not going to get any more. He's not going to get more than Robinson. He's a goal scorer, but he's not a point scorer. You understand what
Right.
I'm saying?
Oh,
He's also a winger.
7.75.
Yeah. So I don't see
When-
him getting much more than that. I don't see him going $2 million over that. Robertson signed 8 years.
No, here's the thing, guys. He signed 7.75 as a bridge up until 26. So
Oh, really?
yeah. So that's big
Yeah,
money
yeah.
for a bridge, man. Big money
That's
for
big
4
money
years.
for a bridge.
It is. It is.
So having said that, then yeah, maybe if he's going to go 8, maybe 9.5.
I'd start it with a 9 if we can get it for 8 years. But at the same time, I'm way open to a bridge as well. I'm okay with that, as long as you're not delivering them to UFA.
Correct.
Andrew saying in the chat, play that with potentially higher cap. Not false. Cap's going up.
Yeah.
And I mean, like,
Let's go.
yes, we do have some money coming off the books next year, but we have a fucking lot of money coming off the books in 26, right?
Now next year there's going to be $20 million available. That's without Price's LTIR.
Is there a way that we
once-
can move that contract, do you think?
I think so.
Anyway,
Well, Arizona's looking to put an all-star team of injured people together. So
Like the
We
only
can
way
throw-
that it would help a team competing right now is the same way as like with the Weber and Dadonov thing, right? So like you have to be able, like, it's LTIR is so goddamn weird this way. You have to be able to send out a player and then get yourself under to be able to put the person on LTIR, right? Like, so you need to be able to be cap compliant and then put Price onto LTIR to open
Correct.
up that space, right? So that's
Right.
tricky.
So what they would have to do is find a team that can take his $10 million, but be okay. Take his $10 million might take him to the ceiling, right? But then once the season starts, they can use that LTIR
Right.
and get $10 more million worth of players.
Right.
However, it doesn't give you more cap space. It just gives you a cap window, I guess you can work with.
Right.
It's weird. It's weird. Yeah.
And And I don't even think you can put them on LTIR until you're at the cap. Am I right in saying this?
I don't know about that, but I know you can put them on.
They wouldn't have Weber on LTIR in Arizona because they're not at the cap ceiling. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, maybe. Right. I don't know. Let's roll.
I think that's how it goes. It's so weird. But the benefit of having the cap space over the LTIR space is exponential. Like the cap space accrues throughout the year. It's so hard to be a rebuilding team this high up and above the cap. It's like it's handcuffed us in so many ways this year.
Well, I think the good news in that is that the cap is going to burn itself out before we compete again. So, I mean, I'm not bothered with the cap right now.
It's true. Price. By the time we're ready to hit the playoffs and actually compete for a cup again, Price will be gone. His contract will be over.
What about Weber?
You're absolutely right.
I mean, Gallagher, sorry. What about Gallagher, man? 6.5, that's heavy, man. He's going to play hockey again. Fuck.
Gallagher, you're going to have to... Listen. I was never a huge Gallagher fan. I liked him. I liked his effort. I liked his whatever.
I feel you, man.
I thought $6.5 million was way too much.
Of course,
way too much. And I think he would have signed for less.
Pat and I've said it all day, every day. We don't have a thing against Gallagher. We like 3.75 Gallagher. We don't like 6.5 Gallagher. You know what I mean? There's the nuance. That's where it lies. Like you can't pay him.
Bergman signed that contract on pure emotion. Pure emotion. He loved Gallagher. So, you know what, Gally, I'm out in another year. Here's 6 years at $6.5 million. Don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
Like,
crazy, man.
The market's out there. We know what it costs to get rid of $6 million with 1 and 2 years left on contracts, right? It's a first and a prospect. It's a first and a prospect.
Oh, man.
If they're smart, though, you find a team like, I hate bringing Arizona up, but they're the ones to it. You find a team like that who's battling at the cap floor, and you say, hey, we got Gallagher here. He can still give you some hockey. He's not out of it yet. He's $6.5 million, so you're not only going to get a player that's probably going to play on your third line, but you're going to get a guy has scored multiple times, scored 30 goals.
Great leader, they say.
Great leader.
He'll put butts in the seats. And he'll put butts in the seats. It is what it is. Like, people will go to watch Gallagher play.
He's a pest. Every other team hates him. Here you go, 6.5. But you know what I mean? You got to find a team that, I don't know. It's going to be tough to get rid of his contract.
For sure.
Especially if he's going to be injured all the time. I see him going LTIR in 2 years.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
If it's in 2 years, it's good.
He'll be Weber. He'll be Weber and Price. He'll be.
Sort of boils down to with a lot of these contracts, like people are like, I see a lot of chatter. And like Pat and I get into this a lot, but it's like, would you do Drouin for another $2 million? Would you do?
Hang on. This is becoming the running gag more than an actual thing, dude. I love bringing it back.
Or would you re-sign Monahan and give him a 1 year show me and trade him at? It's like we have so much money on the injury reserve, and we are a rebuilding team. It is worth their weight in gold just to be out of those contracts as it is. We cannot sign injury-prone players anymore. Like, we've had the most... I know, again, there's a lot of chatter that it's the training staff and this and that, but sometimes it boils down to what kind of players you have in your lineup, right? There's a reason why we're always injured. We have players that are prone to injury and players that are prone to missing time. That's what it boils down to. There's not an organization like the Montreal Canadiens that are going to cheap out on the goddamn doctors and medical staff. Like, I can't stand this narrative when I see it on the Twitter.
I don't blame the doctors or training staff. I think that's a bit of a reach, and I say that because people get it. A broken foot's a broken foot.
Yeah, that's it.
A busted shoulder's a busted shoulder. Now, in the case with Monahan, he broke his foot, and then, and I'll stand by this, I truly believe he pulled his groin when he came back because he did play. He practiced had a full practice, with the red jersey on and everything. And then the next day he had a therapy day. I'm positive he pulled his groin. Positive. And groins are a tough thing. They're either bad or they're not, right? And
the groin bone's connected to the hip bone. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's in the same area. Like,
So,
I mean,
I don't think it's his hip, but I mean, like a broken foot's a broken foot.
I
Caulfield's
love
shoulder.
that.
I think this was more of them saying, you know what, the season's lost.
fuck it.
He's got his 20 some odd goals. We know what he can do. Let's not take this any further. You don't want it to get any worse. With Jack Eye, he punched a guy in the face and hurt his shoulder. Like, you know, a trainer or a doctor can't sit there and, you know, put
Hold the shoulder in place while he's falling
so
down.
Hurt, right? You know, like
For sure. Makes no sense, man.
maybe you can blame the athletic therapist that's working on them during their injury. Maybe I don't know, but
also, like we said before, we went online today or went live. Half of these guys would still be fucking playing if we were in the hunt. It's because we have no real will to win or real will to lose or anything really. So these guys a lot of these guys would still be playing hockey.
And if you got to take consideration too, there's 2 players who have been LTIR all year. That's adding up to that man games loss as well. So when you look at the man games lost, you're going to have 164 based on two people at the end of the year.
But then the Coyotes should beat the league big time. So if we are worse than the Coyotes, it means we're really fucking bad, man, because they have the whole LTIR bank in the team.
But we're not. We have goalies stealing games.
Yeah.
I love that. Can't get rid of these damn goalies. Why is Primo not playing?
I'll tell you. When we played pickup hockey, we used to just turn the net around when another goalie wouldn't show up. Why can't we do that?
That's what they got. Why they got to start doing?
Why can't we do that? Fire Kent Hughes.
It's terrible. Ken Hughes is the worst GM. He did nothing at the deadline. Absolutely nothing.
You know what? I can't wait for one of these names that should have went at the deadline is parceled in the summer for a fucking 1C like Dubois. That's what I can't wait for. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you keep your quarters in your purse for when you really fucking need them. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to trade somebody at the deadline just because it's the deadline.
Here's what I like. I've talked to some people. I don't have any insiders, so don't. I know people though.
Don't piss on us and tell us it's raining, Treg.
I've heard you talk to John Liu. I've heard it.
There were offers for Edmondson at the deadline. However, it wasn't what Ken Hughes wanted in a return, and I'm okay with that.
Of course.
Why make a trade to make a trade? And this was the issue. People were going into the trade deadline saying, we got to make a trade, we got to make a move, we got to move this guy, we got to move. There was no one asking for Druin.
No.
And I mean, if they were, it was, we'll give you, a 5th or 6th round pick, right? Although I will say, I thought Druin was playing his best hockey going into the trade deadline, and I still think Druin's one of the better guys on the team since the 1st of January. So there's no interest there. I thought they got a great return for Dadonov, considering.
Yep.
And Dadonov has 5 points in 6 games since going to Dallas.
Yep.
Dadonov was a product of he just didn't like being in Montreal. I don't think he enjoyed being in Montreal. I don't know if it was the system, the city, what it was. And I was saying over and over again, when everyone's saying Dadonov has no value, I said, you got to look at his entire career. He's a 20-goal scorer everywhere, except here. So obviously,
goal for sure.
It's not him, right? It's not him. It's where he's at. It's his environment. He just doesn't want to be here. And so I wasn't surprised he got moved. And I thought we got a good return. How do you say his name? Goryanov. He scored again tonight.
Rocket.
He has a wicked shot. I think he could be a solid 20-goal scorer. I don't see much more than that, maybe 25. And that's perfect. That's fine with me.
I love his shot so much that I think Cole Caulfield is more dangerous with him on the ice. So if you put him on the power play, that shot on the left-hand side, I think Cole Caulfield is instantly more dangerous.
Do you know who else has a really good shot? Is Yolinen. And if you ever watched any Laval games, you would know, because he was similar to Caulfield on Laval's power play over on that left side, and that's what he was. He was just there to wind up and put a rock into the net. The problem with him is in the NHL, he doesn't have the confidence that he had in Laval with his shot, and I don't know why. That's something.
What frustrates me on the power play is that you look at Ovechkin just standing there, Not even fucking
Just
moving.
doesn't move.
They're
2
playing the
minutes,
power.
man. What is
And then we can't make Caulfield get a quality shot. I don't get it. Well, not now. He's injured, obviously, but right before, right? It was hard to set up Caulfield. Well, meanwhile,
I blame.
drinking.
The
Pepsi
funny thing
on
I
the
find
power
about Ovechkin is, why don't teams just go, you know what? Let's play the triangle against the rest of the team and just have one guy stand
No,
next to
you
Ovechkin.
absolutely
entire
break it down to
That
a
is absolutely how you defend Ovechkin
You
on the power
absolutely
play.
turn it on as a 4-on-3 and you leave the guy on. Yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah,
how
anytime.
no coach has done this yet, I don't. Maybe there's a rule. Maybe there's an unwritten rule that Ovechkin on the power play is not allowed to become.
It's the book, Trege.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
yeah,
I see it every night. And I'm like, just put that guy on him. You just stand there. Just stand there.
He barely doesn't.
Don't move.
Oh man, it's incredible. Just
even if Ovechkin moves, don't move from that spot.
Especially it's fucking Ovechkin. Like, it's not your random guy. It's you know that shot's coming, man. Anyway, it's worked for years. I guess we should try that. Just sit Caulfield there.
We'll get there. Montreal will get there.
The problem is we have to fucking drip back behind our own net just to do the slingshot drop pass to get it up there first.
So
now Montreal's not the only team that does the slingshot drop pass.
I fucking hate it.
They could be the only one that does it exclusively 100% of the time. I've seen them bobble the puck at the blue line and then go all the way back to their own fucking end to start that fucking process again. Oh man, they were doing it against the Trap in LA. Do you remember that? They did it like 5 times in the first period. It was crazy.
5 times in the first.
I think Montreal's power play is looking better than it has all year. They're moving more. They're keeping the puck in their zone more. They're not really getting any goals, but
it really flipped. It really flipped when Caulfield got injured too. Like, it's sad.
Oh, yeah.
The moment our best shooter got off the lineup, bam! It started working. It's sad in a way, man.
Well, the problem with Caulfield was always this: is he was like Weber. Everyone knew he was getting the puck.
Yeah.
Everyone knew he was getting. Everyone knew Suzuki was going to get the puck and do everything he could to get it over to Caulfield. Everyone knew that. So that's how you played it.
But then again, everyone knows Ovechkin is going to get that shot, and
yeah.
it still works. Yeah, there you go, man. That's my point exactly, dude. Like, fuck.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, there's a rule in the NHL: you're not allowed to check Ovechkin on the power play. You just leave him alone.
Must be. Fuck yeah.
You'll get fined. You'll get fined if you do that. That's just the way it is.
It'll start a nuclear war.
So, guys, I had this question I thought of earlier today watching the game. Like, do you guys feel obliged to watch games because you have projects like podcasts and articles and stuff? Because it's so hard to watch.
100%.
Like, it feels like if I didn't have to have a camera in my face about it, I probably would skip a few more games.
I even told my wife that I was gonna put the cable package as a fucking business expense on our taxes next year.
Nice try. Go ahead, ask Matt how it works.
I don't feel like I need to watch the games. I'll watch the highlights. I'll check online to see the good plays if I miss the game, and I let Blaine do all the work on our podcast.
Nice.
So I just sit back and he asks the questions, and I know Matt's going to watch the games all the time. I don't get me wrong. I do try to watch as many games as I can and whatever. But I'll be honest, and we talked about this before we went on air. Since Caulfield and Jack-Eye are gone, the interest just isn't. It's not. It's just not there anymore.
I've lost interest too, buddy. I've lost interest too.
Yeah,
100%.
Although I found the last 4 losses besides this game weren't bad games. They were good games. They kept me engaged. I enjoy watching. I'm enjoying watching the young guys. Slavkovsky was another reason I watched. I wanted to see how he's going to improve. But I watched Slavkovsky different. I'm gonna say this. I get roasted on Twitter sometimes about this. Is they are not developing him to score goals. They're developing him with all his stuff away from the puck. And if you're going to sit there and look at his statistics and go, "Oh, this guy is not going to make it," you got to realize he wasn't playing to score goals. This may sound stupid, but Marty St. Louis and Adam Nicholson were working on his off-the-puck stuff or his carrying the puck, keeping his head up. All those other things is what they were working on. His defensive game. So if he's going to concentrate on that on most games, of course, he's going to take away from because they already know he can score. They already know he can skate. They already know what he can do.
Yeah.
Now you got to work on what you're going to have problems with, and
Or
maybe
what this body brings with the game. Like, we've got this unique frame in you.
Yeah.
Let's show you how to exploit that a little. Yeah,
right. And if you watch the games, he got improved on many things. His skating got better. He started using his body more. He started winning more board battles. His defensive game got better. And you could tell. So he was developing, not what most people want. Most people wanted to see him put the puck in the net and score 2 goals a game and get 3 points and make fancy plays. And that's going to come. That's going to come. And maybe they should have done this in Laval. Maybe. I'm not. I was never against him going to Laval.
Did you think he should have went to the World Juniors?
He didn't want to go to the World Juniors. He came out.
Oh,
and
is
said
that so? Oh, I didn't know that.
He came out and said that. He said he wanted to stay in Montreal. He says, "I'm here with the Montreal Canadiens. I want to stay here and work with the Montreal."
This is my dream, playing in the NHL. Like, why go
Yeah.
back, right? Like, why take a step down from here, man?
He wouldn't have. They never approached him about it, but he wouldn't have said no. Of course, if they said, "Hey, do you want to go?"
Right.
But he said that I didn't. I wanted to be here in Montreal.
Well, good for him.
I
Yeah.
love Slavkovsky, but the whole fucking drafting is already getting on my nerves. Like, we cannot draft a good player in the first round. And if we do, people won't fucking let go of it. He's already a fucking failure to a lot of people, and that really pisses me off, man. The story's getting old already, and I love the guy. I hate
It's
the
because
noise.
they want the guy to come out and be a 30-goal scorer in his first season.
Right.
They want us to draft a guy. They want to Connor Bedard every year. And it's like now people are saying, well, if we don't get Connor Bedard, we're going to be mediocre for 10 years. Well, I have news for you. We're not getting Connor Bedard. Sorry, but we're not.
I never thought we would. Never bought it.
I saw a tweet one time, and this is like the way I look at it best now. It's like the guy says, "I don't want to be in the top or in the bottom 5 because I want Connor Bedard." He goes, "I want to be in the bottom 5 because I want our guaranteed 1 seat for the fucking foreseeable future." Because there's 4 of them right in the top there that are just they're all franchise players, all of them.
There's the first 10 draft picks are going to be top tier elite players.
Right.
I'll tell you that right now. In this draft, top 5 are going to be game changers. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. However, Michkov, is he going to go in the top 5? He's signed in the KHL for 3 more years after this. He could re-sign in the KHL if he wants. He could get shipped off to go fight in the war. Who knows what's going to happen over in Russia? So there's a lot. Now, if I'm Ken Hughes and I'm sitting at 6 and Michkov's still there, I'm probably taking a flyer on him.
Yeah,
he has that. He has the talent, and you're not going to be any good for 3 years anyway. So, I won't be upset if we pass on him because I understand.
Cool,
but
there's also another pick in that top 15 too, right? Like, so that could sweeten the pot a little bit too, right? You can mitigate a little bit of risk taking Michkov by insulating it with a sure bet, right?
Well, if you think he's going to drop, then you take someone else with your first pick and hope he drops to your second pick.
Wow! Wouldn't that be cake and icing?
Well, I mean, it's possible.
It is
really
possible.
Yeah. And it's not because of the player; it's because of the situation. Because
right.
he may never come to the NHL. He could stay in the. He could stay. Now he's going to make about the same amount of money because I think with bonuses, your ELC you can get up to $2.8 million. I think, and he's making something like 2.9. I think it's the highest. The highest player in the KHL makes 2.9. So even if he gets paid as the highest player in the KHL, he's not going to make the money there as he's going to make in the NHL. That's for sure. But I'm with you on this one, Pat. I'm just tired of the, if they don't succeed immediately, it's a bust. Kotkaniemi didn't care for the pick, but I had hopes he'd be an okay second line center. He's playing well in Carolina. I still don't think he's a second-line center. I think he'll be a third-line center. But I don't consider it a failure. They needed a center that year.
World, man. Just being
They
playing in the NHL is incredible talent, and yeah, for sure, best player, one of the best players in the world. When you
The Habs needed a center that was either him or Logan Cooley, right? Or no, sorry, him and not Logan Cooley, the other guy Arizona picked that year.
You know,
Not Logan. Who? It's I forget his name now. I think he went third. He went to Arizona anyway. And they went with Kotkaniemi. And the other guy isn't doing much better than Kotkaniemi is.
Right.
So,
That was a terrible draft. If you go back to that draft, the first 5 picks should all be defensemen. Every single one of them.
Kachuk.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Kachuk could stay up there. I'd have to look up the draft, but
Barrett Aiton, you're talking about, Treg?
Who?
Barrett Aiton? Hayden?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Hayden. Yeah, Barrett Hayden. He was the other center that was supposed to go top 3. So they're looking for a center. Was Kotkaniemi a reach? Probably. But if you look at the draft now, was he really a reach if you wanted a center?
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
Nope.
I think that was where our problem lied a lot of the time too. It's like we had actually a couple, like a good centerman in our system with Dano, and we still had to go out and try and find another center. Like I think that was when we went and picked up Drouin and tried that experiment
right after
shortly after that. Yeah, so like our history at center was shaky to begin with. So for me, it's that pick was like I wanted it too. I wanted to see Kotkaniemi. I've got his sweater. I wanted him to succeed too. But it just seems to follow a trend with Bergevin. He just, I don't know. I don't know if it's like, I don't know how to put it. Like, I think he finds better defensemen than he finds centermen. If that makes any sense.
He played as a defenseman.
Fair enough. And threw the puck in his own net.
I don't know if that has. I don't.
Do you guys
I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I do. He actually threw it in with his glove. Montreal's always had an issue with centers going way back to Saku Koivu was the last good center. Yeah. And even Koivu on a good team
a dominant number
was a second center.
Yeah. You're right.
So who was our last truly number one center? Vincent Danfus? Pierre Turgeon? Are we going back that far?
I think yeah.
Because I mean,
David Desharnais.
Yeah, David Desharnais, dude.
The blasphemy, Treg. Oh.
The guy, listen, Treg. The guy managed to achieve 37 goals out of Max Pacioretty, the best center Pacioretty has ever played with, ever.
No one has since or before Max Pacioretty score that many goals.
Yep.
But how many were in an empty net?
All
Half
of them.
of it. Oh, okay.
Thomas Plekanec, I guess you could go back.
I
would.
And
but again, he's a
center though. Often didn't get the best wingers too. Plecky managed a great career with always getting the second best set of wingers. So that's something. Man.
Well, let's put it to you this way. Let's go even further. Let's talk about Carey Price's tenure as a Montreal Canadian. Never had a player who scored more than 70 points.
That's bananas.
It is.
Scott Gomez
his
was
entire
the last
career
player, I guess. Because he scored 70
Max
the year
Domi
that he traded.
Yeah, it's true.
Max
72. Yep. Yep.
And Plekanec has a 70-point season.
Throwback to Domi's second season with Montreal. Did you love his attitude? Did you foresee the same player you saw like the first season he came?
No.
So I think Domi is the only responsible person for not being able to ever put up 70 points again. I think if he brings the right work ethic and attitude, he's up there, man. He just didn't care.
I think Domi scored 70 points, felt comfortable where he's at, and then just played.
I agree.
I'm not saying he didn't put 100% in, but I think he just played the way he wanted to play. And
Domi has some things going on upstairs too, man. Like he name searches and blocks and fucking does some shit on Twitter. Like it's extensive. He does. therapy, whether it's therapy for him. Like, you go to any of his fan bases, and like half of their fan base is blocked by fucking Max
There's
Domi.
zero fucking evidence out there that he's not Krista. Zero.
That is, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, just saying it.
Hey,
Zero
that's what.
fucking
Hey,
evidence.
Pat gets into the dabs, man, and anybody could be Krista. Anybody.
Isn't Hockey Night in Canada?
We believe so. Yeah, we believe so.
You're not the only people, because you're not the only ones that have said that. You're not the only ones that said Hockey Night in Hockey Night in Montreal is. I've read it.
Like,
I don't know.
we kind of stopped caring as much whenever they stopped fucking being like toxic online. So when they stopped being fucking assholes, we kind of stopped being assholes too.
I'll be honest, I don't remember Krista all that much. I do remember the name, but I don't.
There was a thing. There was a thing tied to the Jack Todd thing. Do you remember the Jack Todd thing where he was?
Which one?
Yeah,
There's so many.
There was
the one where he had some fucking sex to text with a girl online, which was
Jack Todd did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, no, he did. Well, I don't think he did. That was the first catfish episode of Krista, for sure.
Yeah.
So
that's when it all started snowballed from there. Yeah.
See, once I see those tweets, I just kind of ignore them and stay away from it because I really don't care.
So that's why we stopped tweeting about it and
healthy.
exposing every account they make because
yeah,
we're just helping the cause.
I
there,
mean,
man. It's not
personally, I Hockey Night Montreal puts a lot of old highlights on, which I kind of like. So
I like the account. I don't care what they like. As long as I'm not fucking with people.
Care.
Exactly.
I don't care.
That was the deal,
Yep.
right?
I am here to fuck with people. I don't need anyone else taking away my.
There you go, man.
I don't even do that. I don't even really do that anymore.
Do you remember, Treg?
I fucking stopped too, man.
When I went on the wet lady account saying it was you behind it, and people said I was for a while.
And everyone knew it was you.
I had so much fucking fun with that. Yeah, this account is ran by Trege Wilson. I had so much fucking fun doing it, dude. I was laughing my ass off. Interacting with Trege. Trege saying, nope, not me. Yep, definitely me.
And someone, actually, people DM'd and asked me if I was.
That's
if I said no,
dude.
that's not me.
It started catching up, and then I had to tell Trege, hey, it's just a joke, dude. Didn't want my ass kicked, right? Just want to get it clear.
I was
just fucking around, man. It was a joke. Yeah. Stay calm.
I was I don't know if you guys remember Wicked Weber. I was Wicked Weber. That's who I was. That was my ghost account.
I don't think I remember you under that.
I think I do.
And you do?
I think
I would shit talk everything.
Good for you.
and I know who Evil Bergie was, but I'm not going to reveal.
Oh my god, that's a fucking big one.
That was a big one.
I know who it is. But I'm not.
I know that there was a person who literally.
Hang on, Brian. Don't go away from that. Just a second. Wait. Hold on.
No, it's for Evil Bergie.
Okay.
Yeah,
you're going. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Cool.
There was a person who put out a post about even like anybody who's following or is followed by this fucking Evil Bergie account, I'm blocking. Remember Lemieux? What's her? Lemieux or something like that.
Mimi,
Mimi Lemieux or something like that.
Mimi Lemieux,
yeah. She blocked everybody who was still following him. That was a saga. Man, Twitter was awesome.
I know. Yeah, I mean, I did Wicked Weber just because I did it as a joke, and I would shit talk everything, and that.
Oh, I have a few, man. You don't have to tell me the feeling why. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I have a few of my own.
Yeah. I thought it was funny.
If I could remember more than one password, I would have burner accounts, but I can't remember any more than one password.
And then I got bored of it, and then I got more into the writing and doing the podcast. And I wanted to be a little bit more serious. I mean, I still get in a few little arguments here and there, but I've learned. I never saw one. I've learned to. I mean, even Grant McKagan and I even get along now, so that's a bonus. Although I'm still blocked. I'm still blocked by what's his face there from the Gazette.
Jack Todd?
Stu Cowan.
Stu.
He's still blocked me. Yeah.
Fucking Larry Murphy from Marco and fucking.
Murphy's Law.
Murphy. He fucking blocked me for some reason.
What? Dude, that's my first media mutual follow ever was Murphy's Law. Then it was Jack Todd. And I'm still proud. I'm always afraid of bragging about Jack Todd because I'm always scared that if I look, he doesn't follow me anymore, and that would break my heart every fucking time. So I have some anxiety right now. Okay, yeah, we're still following each other. Whoo! Panic attack, dude.
You'll still
Nice.
get your sexy DMs. You'll still get your sexy DMs, Pat. Don't worry. Just bide your time, homie.
Nice.
Jack Todd's he's too political for me, so I don't
Yeah.
I don't even know if I follow him. He's too political for me. Same
I
with
had muted forever. So
yeah. Same with that Ian Kennedy guy there from the hockey news, the one that's always going on, the White Knight I call him.
Yeah, that's a pretty good nickname, actually.
He's not wrong on a lot of things he says. Like, he's not.
But it's tiring.
It's the way he goes about it.
I'll tell you, man. If you're an expert, or if you have an opinion on literally everything, you're an expert in nothing. Right? Yeah. That's my thing.
And
like,
I'm fine with that, dude. I'm fine.
Everything.
Average at everything is perfect for me, man. I love it.
You're an expert at suspenders and fucking cabled internet.
I love
your little room there, though. I feel like I'm at a rave. I feel like I'm 25 years old. I'm back at a rave. I'm high on acid.
We can do fucking acid for the show. Like, why haven't we?
I think you can't. We can. No Brian can. The most of us is fucking province supports him now.
Listen, I don't want to be doing this to the microphone the whole time. Where it won't look good on camera, and it won't look good to me.
Oh no! I remember that move. Who was it?
Ian Kennedy will write an article about me.
He's writing about this show right now. You'd believe me. He's fucking drafting a tweet right now.
Here's the thing about Jack Todd for me, guys. You remember in 2017, like the last time it was the worst time, the worst season for the Habs ever before the Kotkaniemi draft.
Yep.
Jack Todd was being reasonable as everybody went fucking mad negative on Twitter, and Jack Todd was like, "It'll be fine. Just relax. It's an off season." Doesn't matter how it turned out. I felt like back then it was like refreshing, and that was weird because it was coming from the most cynical guy on Twitter, right? So he was
the most cynical rag that fucking sponsors that kind of shit, right? The Gazette's like,
Wow. Yeah. Now that Pat Hickey's gone, there's no one really there. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't mind Stu Cowan. I don't even remember why he blocked me. I probably said something about Bergevin or something. I don't know why he
challenged him to an arm wrestle.
It was a long time ago, and we almost were on the Tony Marinaro show together, and I thought that's going to be awkward. But I don't think he really remembers who I am now anyway, and I don't even think he remembered that he blocked me. But Brendan Kelly is the guy that I can't stand him. Like, I met him live at the draft, and even at the draft, I'm like, the way he was going on about stuff, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, do you even know what's going on?
How far away from him were you at the draft?
Brendan Kelly? I seen him outside. He was outside trying to interview people. Okay,
straight to the real quick. Did he stink? He looks like he'd stink.
Brendan Kelly?
Tell me Brendan Kelly stinks, please. Come on,
he doesn't brush it. All right, he stinks.
Yes!
But I knew he smells...
He chooses salty.
He smells like onions, and he doesn't brush his hair. How's that?
Yes! I knew it!
Yeah.
I fucking knew it.
Did you get our sound bites? That would have been a perfect spot to drop a sound bite.
Oh my god! Hang on, I'll get something else. What about this? One of the old goldies.
The oldies.
After the draft in Montreal, I met a lot of people that I never met before that were there. The hotel I was staying at had a lot of teams staying there. Like a lot of the Hamilton Bulldogs were there with their. Cool. I was talking to them in the elevator. We talked about Arbor Jack Eye actually, and
wow.
I was talking to the GM, and I can't think of his name right now. It'll come to me at 3 a.m. I'll call you all. And he was telling me that Jack Eye will make the NHL. Guaranteed. He guaranteed me he'd make the NHL. This was in last year's draft. And I was like, oh,
that's crazy, dude.
And he said this guy has never been cut from any team he's tried out for. And sure enough, he came into...
I love watching the guy fight. I love watching the guy fight. I love watching everything. But the hidden gem that I love about Arbor Jack Eye is he creates these lanes to the fucking net. Like, he does a sidestep one way or the other way, and he gets pucks to the net. It's it's a really good skill to have.
and he can dance on that blue line. He can go up and down that blue line with that puck with someone on him and get around that guy. There is so much to this guy's game that people don't realize.
Right.
And he doesn't fight unnecessarily. I've never seen him get into a fight where you're like, it's the bad time to get into a fight, buddy. It's usually the other team coming after him and not him going after the other team.
There was one that he was at the end of a shift. I think it was the Delorier fight, to be honest. I think he was right at the end of a shift, the end of like almost a 2-minute shift. I wish he would have waited for another shift for that one, but I mean, like, he held his own. That's a fucking heavyweight of heavyweights, right?
Yeah, and I'm, I like fighting in the game. I'm not one of those guys who wants to see it all the time. But I still think it has a place. I'm old school. I still think it has a place. I remember the Easter massacre here between Quebec and Montreal, so that's how I'll age myself.
I have the DVD behind it. We're gonna organize a public watch at some point. We're gonna watch these old games online with people. For sure.
Watch those old games and watch what's not a penalty in those games.
No, I remember those games. Yeah, for sure.
Like, you can have a guy on your back. Mary Lemieux, I don't know how many times, had a guy literally on his back.
Yeah.
And the referee
or hooked with the stick.
You're good. You're good.
But the goalie sucked, but we were dragging 3 players across the neutral zone. Yeah, like I'd bring that up a lot.
Did you see the pads today, though?
The pads today? Yeah.
Today you can lift a stick. You lift a stick and it's slashing. Literally, you go like this with a stick, and it's a slash or a hook. Oh, you hooked him? No, I lifted a stick. No, that was a hook. It was too close
unless you're Sidney Crosby, and then you can cut some limbs, and that's okay. So, there's a fucking line, man. There's a fucking line. Remember that when you cut fucking Mittett's thumb? Pow!
Or you can throw an elbow like McDavid. Not get a penalty for it.
True.
The 2 prima donnas went at it today.
Yeah.
Edmonton played Toronto and Austin, and
they both scored a goal.
McElbo, yeah.
I noticed Toronto got a lot of penalties once they went down 3-1, or got a lot of power plays. That was I thought that was
shockingly enough.
That was a bit weird. That never happens. That never happens. But
is there still an highlight in the game we watch? Like, you watch something tonight? Do you see something that makes you smile, or you're just all through the whole game? Yeah, a game like tonight, or the last 3-4 games.
I mean, I still like to watch Suzuki do what Suzuki does. That's the last bright spot for me, honestly. I would really, really like to see Montembeault claim that net and keep it for himself. I want them to have found their goalie. That's something too.
Do you think Suzuki's the number 1 center?
Are we ready to get some hate?
What's that?
I do, but I do think that there are better options. Does that make sense? I think he can play that role, but I think there's better options.
Is Malkin a first line center?
Yes.
So but he's a second line center like his career.
Is Draisaitl a first line center?
Yeah, exactly my point.
Yes.
Exactly my point. I think Suzuki has some 200 feet game play that challenges a lot of the top centers in the league. Maybe he's not the best at one thing, but fuck.
But here's my point. We talked about Desharnais and Plekanec and all these centers that weren't really first-line centers, right? I think Suzuki is closer to a first-line center than any of them guys were. However, I do agree. I think Kirby Dach's going to become a better center.
Oh! Fuck, I have a hard time with that one because of the sample. It's so short, man. Suzuki, I know it's easy now to say.
But if you watch, besides the face-off, if you watch Kirby Dach, he does more as a center offensively than Nick Suzuki does.
But
he's got this weird confidence with the puck.
Do you remember the clutchness of Suzuki in the playoffs, man?
I do, and I'm not.
It's hard for me to. Bam! Just put Doctor for over 20 games, 25 games. He's been that good at center, and now I'm pushing Suzuki over, who fucking beat Malkin and Crosby together on a 5-on-3 in the bubble. Remember that?
I remember.
Yes,
man, it's hard. Man.
Kirby Dach, when he gets it all together, I think will be a better center than Nick Suzuki. I'm not saying either one of them are going to be above. Because like you said, there's different elements to the game.
For sure.
Suzuki's a better playmaker. Suzuki's a better He sees the ice better. He's a better visual. But
He's clutch
like
as
you said,
fuck.
Doc has that confidence. He can take that center position and he can work it at both ends of the ice.
And I have to say,
and he
I
has the body. He has the size and he has the body and he can skate with
for
that
sure.
size.
And I was
And
very
it's not a bad
critical
thing.
of I was very critical of Kirby Doc at first because he was sold as being traded as a big centerman, and we shoved it on a wing, and I was bothered. Like, we traded for a centerman and we got a winger. For me, it's not the perfect scenario right there. Then he comes back at center and he fucking owns it. So I have to be honest and give it to him for sure. For sure. But the sample of saying he's going to beat Suzuki, for me, it's like, oh my God. I remember playoff Suzuki carrying the whole fucking forwards on his back, man. He was the guy out there, man.
I'm saying,
let's like what Treg says, there's elements to both of their games that they could just fit nicely, and their wingers can be complementary instead of best pairs available to put on line one. If you get those two top lines gelling with chemistry, with size where it's needed, with grit where it's needed, with smarts where it's needed, that's a beautiful thing, boys. You don't like it's not even a 1A, 1B. You don't have to label shit like that. The line that has the chemistry that night is going to be your top line, right?
Rewind to Treg's point earlier, okay, man? Is Kirby Doc a real number one in the league? Or do we have two solid number twos in our hands right now?
I think we have two solid 1Bs.
Oh, so we still need a 1A, right?
They're a little bit better than a 2, but they're not that number. Now, Pierre-Luc Dubois, is he your number one center?
Now we're talking. Yep. I'd trade for him this summer. I would trade for him this summer.
Yeah.
I'll let you know, Sigurd. I might be writing an article tomorrow about this scenario.
Good.
People go read it tomorrow.
Here's the thing. Everyone's assuming Pierre-Luc Dubois wants to come to Montreal. Pierre-Luc Dubois and his agent never said they wanted Montreal. They said Montreal was an option that he wants to go to.
Right.
Never came right out and said only Montreal.
Yeah, there's no way, and he's also a professional athlete. There's no way it's Montreal or nowhere. So if he is adamant about not re-signing in Winnipeg, they're going to trade him this summer to the highest bidder. So what I fear, and Pat and I have talked about this a couple times, our fear is what happens if Winnipeg feels they have to trade him. Their best offer is something that we could have matched easily, and there goes any chance of signing him, because he's got to put ink to paper before he plays hockey again, right? So I've seen, and we've talked about it a couple times, we have seen more RFAs extend where they're traded than sign a qualifying offer to wait for their hometown favorite team to send them an offer. Shit. I didn't knock over the bong, boys.
Rob said in the chat that Pierre-Luc Dubois is the new Le Cavalier. So here's the thing, they all fucking do it. Every free agent does it, besides fucking John Tavares, who refused to even get the phone call. Remember that one? Every fucking free agent does it. They put Montreal out there because it's a big market. It'll hype up your fucking market for sure. It works every time. Here's the thing. It hits closer to home when it's fucking Pierre-Luc Dubois than when it is whatever fucking Russian name.
Yeah, I feel
6'3" bona fide 1C point per game player.
Parle français.
What could you imagine our team if Kirby Doc is our 3C? Think about that.
I think Kirby Doc, I think he moves to the wing if he's a 3C.
I think Suzuki goes to the wing.
Whatever. Doesn't matter to me.
For all the reasons that you said earlier, I think Kirby Doc has got this. He's got this unique confidence.
I could see Suzuki taking the face off and then switching to the wing, spots with Doc, just because. Well, Suzuki's not great at the face off, but he's better than Doc is.
I think that depends.
Here's my thing with Dubois.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Dubois does kind of want to come to Montreal. I think if he has the option to go to Montreal, he's going to look that way.
I believe it.
I don't think Montreal should wait till he's a free agent, because I think he's going to go to the highest bidder, and I think they need to make a trade now. To make a trade for Pierre-Luc Dubois, that means you're giving something up.
Oh yes, we've talked about this too.
And I think it's going to be one of the defensemen, and I think it's going to be Jordan Harris. I think Jordan Harris is going to be wrapped.
The same conclusion, dude.
I think there's going to be a first-round pick, Jordan Harris, and Christian Dvorak. That's who I think the package is going to be. Maybe
Oh,
more.
no. I think Anderson is in there. You want to replace Pierre-Luc Dubois' physical play. You get a big winner that can play some body and
But,
Winnipeg. I think
they need a center. They're going to need a center.
Yeah, do they? They have nothing down.
Here's the thing. We also need to know the direction of the Winnipeg Jets before we can tailor any offer. Are they going to try and kick the can down the road a little bit and try and make the playoffs a couple more years, or are they going to blow it up because they're losing? They've got a couple UFAs, and Hellebuck as well, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
maybe
again, they're headed for a rebuild. But if they trade Dubois for the right package, they could kick the can down the road a little bit, or they could speed up that rebuild.
You're right, completely. Yeah, they have.
And I think I'll come out and say it. I think we have a package for either direction they're headed. I think we can make an offer for either direction. I think Calgary's first pick next year is going to be fucking a nice pick as well. Same way that Florida's this pick. You watch, Calgary's that next year.
If it's next year, not 2025, because there's a huge friggin'
the condition list with fucking
conditions with Philadelphia and
I remember.
So,
crazy, man.
But I think you're right. So if they decide, hey, we're still going to go for it, then Anderson's probably in that package. If they say, no, you know what, we're going to rebuild, then you're looking at Dvorak or another prospect or something else.
Right.
And I like Anderson. I don't have it, but I don't have an issue trading them if you're going to get better.
Nope.
I don't have an issue trading anyone if they're going to. Well, I like Caulfield and Suzuki. I think are the only untouchables. Maybe Gooley. Yeah, maybe Gooley's an untouchable for now.
Here's the thing, man. I know it's stupid, but Jacky for me, man. Imagine Jacky trading him. You're going to get what kind of return for a guy like Jacky? Never what it's worth on the ice in my books.
Oh
Oh,
man.
God, no.
Keep the guy.
No, you won't get value for it. Unfortunately,
You got a 13th overall pick for Romanov. Think about that.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah,
Jackie's a better defenseman than Romanov.
Romanov doesn't fit anywhere on this roster.
Yeah, there's the peer pressure of the draft floor, but like the regular market all year long, I don't know if he's worth that much, right?
But a Dubois trade happens on the draft floor.
Oh man, there you go. Pull the trigger. Pull the trigger. I'm on it, man. Pull the fucking trigger right now.
But Brian makes a good point too. It depends on who we're drafting.
Yeah.
Say if you win the draft, you're drafting Bedard, you're not getting Dubois.
Or you could trade Nick Suzuki for Pierre-Luc Dubois.
1 year captaincy not happening, man.
1 second, boys.
No problem, man.
I don't think you're doing that either. I don't think you're trading Nick Suzuki. However, you get Bedard if you truly believe he's going to be your
Guys,
center.
I'll be back in 2 seconds, okay?
Yeah, no problem. Take your time, man.
If you truly believe he's going to be your center, right? Bedard, you don't get Dubois. You don't need Dubois. You don't need him.
You're right. It breaks
Not
my
with
heart.
Doc and Suzuki and Bedard. Now, if you get Fantelli or if you get...
You think about it, Fantilli for Dubois?
No, I'm just saying if you get Fantelli, you could still go get Dubois because I think Fantelli's going to end up playing the wing anyway. But
oh, really?
And that's another thing. You got these draft guys, right? You got all these draft guys.
Who's your go-to?
Not all my go-to.
Is it McKay?
Were there? No, McKay. I think McKay has he has connections, so I don't sit there and balk at whatever McKay says because he's not often wrong. I'm sorry to say it, but he's not. But I go to McKay. I go to Elite Prospects because they have they list what all the draft guys are doing. The hockey writers, they got their draft out. I got to plug them. So
for sure, understandably.
Bob McKenzie, I listen to but I take everyone's and I kind of look at the player and say, all right, if all these places and all these people are saying this guy's going fourth, he's probably going third, fourth, or fifth, right? So I mean,
usually, yeah.
As of right now, Montreal's picking sixth. So I think they might pop into the top 5. That wouldn't shock me, especially with the way things are going and the strength of the schedule they have coming up.
Let's say you have something like Let's say you have something like the 5th and the 8th pick. Do you try to trade up for like top 3?
No one's going to trade the top 3 pick, I don't think.
No,
For 2 top 10, let's say? Fuck, that's insane.
No.
not with the players that are available down there or at the top.
No. I don't think it happens.
Would you trade pick 8 and 10 or 6 and 8 for Fantilli? Would you do it? Not a chance. Would you?
I mean, the only. If you have 5 and 8, so according to Sportsnet, just because it's the first one that came up, Will Smith and Brandon Yeager are your 2 guys at 5 and 8. All right, or Zachary Benson at 6, and I'm good with all those guys. Montreal picks them.
Right.
No one's given up Bedard, Fantelli, or Leo Carlson for Smith, Benson, or Yeager, or even both of them.
I don't think so.
That's the difference between the top 5 and the next 5. Now, Mitchkov, according to this one, is 4. I can see him dropping. But if Montreal's 6, they're 6th and 16th. So you're looking at Oliver Moore, according to this, Oliver Moore and Zach Benson.
16th.
Yeah,
I thought
16th.
Florida's 4 points out of a fucking wild card spot.
They just did they win tonight?
I'm not sure.
Just a sec, boys. I'll still hear you, but I'm shutting my camera a sec. Just be right back.
It was 4-4. Let's see here. Florida has 72 points.
They did win today, then. Or no, because Pens have 76, as well as Islanders, right?
They have 72 points, which puts them in 16th from the bottom, 16th, 17th overall, 16th from the bottom. And
sorry about that, Trege. I forgot there was 32 teams now.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
And they are 4 points out of a wild card spot. So they are 4 points out, but they're also, 8 points out from, the bottom of the league. Or they're also...
It's going to be hell for them to get back into a playoff spot.
I think they finish between 14th, 15th, and 16th. You know what I mean? I think they finish around there. That's from the bottom.
As long as we know when's the draft lottery. It's like end of April or something like that, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
I have a feeling we will know where Montreal picks both picks that day.
The NHL draft lottery is July. Oh no, that's the draft.
The lottery's like fucking before the final round of the fucking playoffs.
Yeah.
May or something like that. End of April, early May.
When is it?
I think.
May 10th.
You said...
Yeah.
No, that's
I think
2022.
it's somewhere. It'll be something similar.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, like, we should know where we're picking both picks on that day.
Yeah.
I don't think Florida's going to make the playoffs.
Well, all I know is the draft lottery is after the regular season's over.
Yeah, it should be a couple rounds into the playoffs.
Yeah, and then they'll do their little thing, and Montreal will win it, and Batman will act surprised. Oh, what? That's not who I told you to pick.
Hey, man, I'd call that even for John Scott.
Listen, if Montreal can get a top 3 pick, I'm jumping over the moon because you're getting Leo. I would say Leo Carlson at 3.
Yeah,
if you can get Leo Carlson, he's going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
So if they get top 5, again, they're getting a game changer. Top 10, getting a great player. Might not make the NHL the first year, but could be pretty damn close. I mean, and plus, look at the prospect. Look at Riley Kidney. Riley Kidney's killing it.
Yeah.
Since he got traded.
Lane Hudson.
Wow. I'm reserving Lane Hudson. I'm reserving Lane Hudson. I am not getting overhyped over Lane Hudson.
Okay.
I'm not.
That's
And I'll
probably-
tell you why.
Yeah, go ahead.
When I was at the World Junior Championships, I was talking to a lot of guys there, like Prawn Man and buddy from TSN there. I forget his name. Starts with a C. And they all don't think he's going to be great in the NHL. They think the game's going to be too fast for him. Now, he is 5'10" now. So he grew 3 inches since the draft. Adam Fox is only 5'11".
Mm-hmm.
But Adam Fox is like 180, 190 pounds, and Lane Hudson's still like 160 pounds.
Right.
So until he gets a little beefier, mind you, he can still play. I think another 2 years in university, so it's not like you need to rush him.
Right.
But I'm not saying he's not going to be a great in the NHL. I'm not hyping myself up on Lane Hudson.
You're
That's
managing
now.
disappointment. That's what you're doing.
Not everything translates to the NHL. It makes
That's
sense.
true.
Right.
Everything points to him having a great career in the NHL. If you look at other players in his steed, and the fact that he is growing, and the fact that he is into a, going to be at an acceptable height for a defenseman. I mean, hey, Victor Mete can play defense at 5'8".
Right.
All of Famer.
I would rather
Victor Mete
be
for you.
pleasantly surprised with Lane Hudson than fucking ragingly disappointed.
And that's why I'm not overhyping.
Yeah.
I'd rather him come in and prove me wrong
Yeah.
than come in and me go, another one.
Yeah.
Just trying to avoid Norlinder all over again, right?
I will put my.
Hey, I was high on Norlinder. I was too. I thought Norlinder was going to come in and be a great offensive defenseman. It turned out to be shit.
And his cool fucking attitude and composure and the pressers, man. He was laid back, smiley as fuck. He was perfect, man. I was waiting for the kid.
Yeah.
Nah.
Actually, I think Noah Juleson, if he didn't get hurt, would have had a great NHL career.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this,
Yeah, I agree.
hell of a young man, too. I met him at our golf course. Fucking just a nice kid.
Yeah, I felt bad for him. Those 2 pucks to the face, I think, ruined his career. But what can you do? Now, I think Joshua Waugh is going to have a good NHL career. Who's that?
Sean Farrell?
Farrell?
Yeah. He's tearing it up right now, too.
I reserve myself on these college kids, the NCAA kids. And I don't know why, but I just find they're hit and miss when they get to the NHL.
Fair enough.
But I can see Farrell having I think when I say Waugh's going to have a good NHL career, I don't think he's going to come out and be a top 6, 30-goal scorer. I think he's going to be a solid a Lehkonen type player. Now I met Joshua at the airport on my way to the Dominican Republic. He was flying home from the World Juniors. My daughter met him. Apparently, they're boyfriend and girlfriend now, according to her.
Nice.
We'll make you a T-shirt.
But I'll tell you something that I liked about Joshua Waugh is we were waiting to get on the plane. A bunch of the players from the Canada team were coming in, and one of the women I was with, older woman, wanted to get her picture with him because she goes, "Oh my God, that's Joshua Waugh." She's a big hockey fan, loves. I don't know what team she's. I don't think she's Canadian. So anyway, I got a picture with him. Talked to him for a little bit. Then I was downstairs having breakfast, or in the airport in Halifax having breakfast, and behind security, and him and one of the other guys, I forget his name, was sitting at the table. I never noticed. He's the one that came up to me, started talking to me, and saying, "Hey, man, like blah 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 blah." Like, you know what I mean? Like, he recognized me.
Wow.
Because I did a lot of interviews, and I was talking to the guys a lot at the World Juniors and all this kind of stuff.
Dude.
Yeah, and that's
seriously.
what I liked. Like it was like, to me, I was like, "Oh, hey," like, and picture with him. And he's like, "Yeah, no problem," and all this kind of stuff. And he said, "Hey, I hope to see you, when I get to Laval, and I hope to see you when I get here." You know what I mean? And he was very, very nice, very personable, very soft-spoken, and just the way he's playing. And I'll tell you what, he's going to be a Lehkonen type player, I think. I think he's going to be a very good two-way forward. Probably a third line, a guy that can jump up on that second line if he has to. 20, 25 goal scorer in the NHL, maybe 50 points tops, but
He was clutch in the World Junior, man. He was clutch.
and both of them, even the one in the summer, he was clutching that one as well. And I interviewed Shane Wright about him and Bedard. They had nothing but good things to say about him. They just said his vision's really good. He knows how to run a line. I was like, yeah. So I really have high hopes for Watt. High to the point where I'm my expectations are, this is what he's going to be.
Now, are you willing to learn how to pronounce it? I could see Pat fucking cringing
Brian,
every single time.
No, but Brian has put some massive fucking effort to break the Quebecois accent, like
Joshua Roy.
There you go.
Oh shit, dude! All right.
Well done, sir. Well done.
I
could just
say him.
like
Yeah,
whenever
you told me that, man.
You're like Joshua. Well, I could see Pat go.
I broke my fucking chair, dude. Thanks for noticing.
All right, sorry, Joshua Roy.
Nice.
I'm not Blaine. I noticed Blaine on our show purposely overpronounces the French on a French man's name. And
Well,
Listen,
your name is
I
Wilson, and his
giggle.
name is fucking Potvin. So there's a reason why Blaine applies.
well, I know why he does, but I kind of giggle every time. I'm kinda
Wilson
like, yes, Blaine,
just
we know
takes
you're
away that
bilingual.
margin, man. No, you're still bilingual.
My name's
fucking
Wilson.
around, man.
I'm like Celtic, so like it's
Nice.
Fucking
Vikings
but
invading us slowly.
what do you mean, you people?
Right?
You people.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you mean, you people? I'm offended.
Big what? Want to fight about it?
So, guys, I thought of something earlier. Did you hear the Bettman talking about expansion again? So fast, so early.
What? Oh, Houston and Atlanta. Those are
Atlanta
the two.
Yeah.
again. They failed like
Right,
twice
dude?
already, dude.
Right?
Oh man, people in Quebec are gonna get pretty depressed soon
Well, I'm going to tell you why Quebec's not going to get a team.
because the Canadian money sucks.
No, I don't think it has
Dollar.
well, not just that. It's because NHL's already getting the money from Canadian television, regardless if they put another team in Canada, because we have two stations that
Right.
really cover hockey, and they're always going to cover hockey, no matter what. What the problem with the United States? It's all broken up into markets, right? So this is why they want Atlanta and Houston and not say Quebec, is because
People
They're
in
gonna get
Quebec
that
already
market.
watch hockey. Yeah, I get it.
And they pay to watch hockey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's
And-
nothing
Yep.
there's nothing you can do to get more out of them.
So really, unfortunately, because Quebec deserves a hockey team.
Yeah.
I think Canada deserves at least 2 or 3 more hockey teams. To be honest,
I think you're right.
I think you can have one on the East Coast and say Halifax or Moncton. I think you can have a team in Saskatchewan.
Victoria.
I think you could have another team in British Columbia, and I think it would be successful.
Treg, correct me if I'm wrong, but is there another junior team that steadily brings over 10K people game after game in a junior arena in Canada? Is this a thing?
Kelowna does.
10K steady every fucking game, no exception?
Kelowna Rockets? Oh, yeah, man.
Connor Bedard, his team is because of Bedard.
Yeah,
of course.
okay, fair, but I mean steadily, regardless of trends and hot players coming in and out, man. The fucking Quebec Rempart bring 10K people steadily to the fucking arena.
I see what you're
buying-
saying, though.
Oh my god, man.
But Quebec selling out every game is only helping the Quebec Nordiques or whoever the Quebec
No,
name's
I
going to be.
agree. I agree.
Right?
I agree.
And it helps
It's a shame-
Rogers
it's a
and
shame.
TSN.
It's a shame the
Correct,
fucking
but-
bureaucracy is going to take away a market that deserve a fucking club. It's sad.
It doesn't help the NHL on a whole because if they get the television rights in Houston and they get the television rights in Atlanta, that's more money for
Those
the
are two
NHL.
brand new markets.
I think-
Right.
not just adding on.
And
to
I'm just
existing
doing this from a business. I'm doing this from a business point of view because I would love another team in Quebec. I mean, I'd still be a Habs fan just because I grew up watching TQS, watching the Quebec Nordiques on TQS right before Blue Nuit. Because you watch that, then you had that little hour before the good stuff came on.
110%, right?
And
Je t'aime, Emmanuel.
Emmanuel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
Literally,
mean,
man. Wow,
you know,
what a fucking flashback now. That's
and then
wow.
you turn the volume down because you don't want your parents hearing anything, and then if you hear them come out of the bedroom, you turn it to Saturday Night Live, so you know everything's kosher.
Oh, it's my child.
So
And they're like, why do you have a boner to the fucking news on SNL?
no, I got the pillow. You got the pillow over here.
Come on.
I'm just leaning on my pillow, Mom.
That's hilarious.
But the thing is with Atlanta, I don't understand Atlanta. I don't, because it's failed twice, and it'll fail again.
Yeah.
Like Houston, I get, and Houston, I think Houston's going to get a team at some point, regardless. I personally don't think Arizona's going to work. I don't think they're going to get the arena in Tempe, and if they don't get that arena, I think they're done.
Yeah.
However, if they do, Austin Matthews going to Arizona will boost. That'll just Arizona will sell out all the time. It'll be like Gretzky going to LA. It's what it'll be. Like I mean, I know Toronto fans.
And when Matthews goes to Arizona, right?
Dispo. Yeah. Who? That's what I'm saying. Like I know Toronto fans think Matthews going to take a hometown disco to stay in Toronto, but guess what? His hometown's in Arizona. So if he's going to take a discount, it's going to be there.
And
exactly
like when Tavares came to Toronto, they are going to give the C to the fucking free agent. Where is it, man? To the fucking free agent coming in, man. That's how it goes down.
I said to the guys via DM, I said, Dubas has gone all in because he knows that Matthews won't re-sign here and he has to trade him this summer anyway. So writing's on the wall.
Trades him or not, I don't know. But yeah, he's going to have to trade him because he can't lose him for nothing.
Can't lose him for nothing.
Exactly like John Tavares. Right?
You can't.
I'd love
you
it.
can't even risk him getting injured in the season for nothing. Dude, you can't even risk that. You can't even let him lace up his skates. That's too much fucking money, too much value, too much everything.
Yeah. I think they'll have to fire Dubas. They'll have to. Dubas won't trade fucking Matthews. They'll do the John Tavares thing all over again, man.
Dubas is in his last year, and here's the thing. Even if Toronto gets past the first round, if they don't make it to the Stanley Cup or at least the conference finals, it's a failure.
Yeah, thank you. It is suitcases. It's the only reason why we had an extra month of Bergevin or 2-3 months of Bergevin was because he made it to the finals that year. That's why he didn't get fucking his walking papers before the season started. And Dubas is in the exact same scenario. Same.
And you have to admit, COVID helped Montreal make the last two playoffs.
And do you agree?
Do
you agree that the rebuild should have been started and was already underway, and that they suspended it
already
in order to take the final swing at the COVID
Bergie was
years?
Building up from where he was.
I think Bergie in 2017 tried to start a rebuild in 2017, but since they made the playoffs those other 2 years, they kind of had to. Here's what I think: when Bergie took over in 2013, I think he wanted to burn it all down and start from scratch. And I don't think Molson wanted him to. I don't think they needed to be
hit during the Centennial. I think he wanted them to wait until after the Centennial.
I think Molson was like, no, we need to be a winning team. We need this. And Bergie had no choice. And I think that's been the case with Montreal for 20 years. They were afraid to do a full rebuild because Montreal has to be successful. It has to be because they're the Montreal Canadiens. And in the salary cap era, you got to do a rebuild. You got to build a team to win a cup. You can't plug holes.
It's built around the cut. It's built around the cap. You can't just go out and plug holes with $13 million.
Now you're not just going to win a cup through a draft. Edmonton and Toronto are clear, and Buffalo, you could even say, are clear examples of that.
Dude, Colorado had to move their big name player before they could even take that next step. They weren't doing anything just building through the draft either.
If you look at all the big contenders, they don't have a main line. There's not one way to build a winning club. That's
Bingo.
weird.
Most of them do have a elite to above elite player on their team.
Yes.
Except St. Louis. St. Louis was the only team that didn't have some type of elite player on their team.
So who's the elite player in Boston, bringing the best club as it
right now? Right now,
Pasternak, Marchand. Pasternak, Bergeron.
I'd
I even
argue
tweeted
that.
it in the middle of the
Oh.
season this year that we owe a lot. Like we have to question a lot of these things that say that we need these number one picks and whatnot if Boston goes on to win the cup, because on paper they have about half of what people say you need.
Boston, I would say Boston is another team that didn't have a top 5 pick to win the cup, because I don't think any of them. Pasternak was 26. Pasternak was picked right before Juleson. Right before one of Montreal's shitty picks.
Yeah, you're right. It was right before Sherbrooke. That's what it was.
Yeah, Bergeron, I don't think was in the top 5. Marchand wasn't in the top 5.
The only player I could think right now is Taylor Hall. But I mean, he wasn't there. Like, and he's injured.
So you could say if Boston wins this year, you could say, all right, St. Louis and Boston, they didn't need a top 5 pick to win a cup. But you look at Tampa, Stamkos, Kucherov.
But we had guys. We had a top 3 going all the way.
Well, we got 2 top 3s right now. We got 2 top 3s. Right? We got 3 top 3s.
Doc.
Drouin.
Oh, you son of a bitch! You went there. You went there.
Yeah. But he's not wrong, though. But he's not wrong.
3 top 5 picks.
Let's hear Trege on this. How low do you keep Drouin for? Like 1 million? You keep Drouin for an extra year? Brian, I know you're up in league minimum.
I like Drouin. I like Drouin, but I think
it's over.
You make the room for a guy like Yolonen to get full time in the NHL. If you're in a rebuild, you don't need to bring him back.
And like, it is what it is. He's now on the list of injury-prone players. We need to get away from injury-prone players. We need off of LTIR so bad it's not funny.
You want to have Harvey Pinard and Yolonen in Montreal next year, you don't re-sign Drouin.
Exactly.
Because he takes up a spot. Even though he'll be injured half the season anyway, that's not the point. The point is he takes up a spot. So really you're paying $1 million, $1.5 million for a guy to
not have a spot.
Not have a spot.
You win this one.
I mean,
every single time it's brought up.
I always liked Drouin. Drouin was a product of over expectations and Marc Bergevin pumping him up to be something more than what he was. That's exactly what he not in his career with Tampa Bay did he score more than 53 points. Right? Yet he came to Montreal and we're all like, this is our number 1 center. This is our French superstar. This is the guy that's going to bring us to the promised land. And everyone bought into it. It's like Pierre Paulier telling everyone he's going to fix inflation. Everyone's going to buy into it, and it's not going to happen.
And I'm still paying $6 for milk.
Dude, we can expect Rob popping in the chat any minute now. It just became political.
Right? I'm just saying, like...
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Drouin was Bergevin's fault. Because Bergevin brought him in as and I'll say this, when Sergachev was traded, he played 4 games with Montreal, and he looked okay. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. There was potential there. But
I remember how big the buzz was at the draft that we got Sergachev. Who was it? I think it was Oli Yolevi that got picked right before us by the Canucks, and everybody was like, on the floor, like they couldn't even believe it that Sergachev dropped to, I think, 9? I think that's where we grabbed him. Yeah.
Sergachev was like the Caulfield pick, right? But the issue with the trade was they traded from a position of weakness, which was the right-hand defenseman in Sergachev, to pick up someone that could maybe be the next superstar, maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't like the trade when it happened. I wasn't against Drouin. I liked Drouin when he was in Montreal. I think Drouin's a great guy. I think he's great for the community, and he does lots for the city of Montreal and for the kids and for the Children's Hospital, which people don't acknowledge. I think he got a raw deal, and I think it was because Bergevin put him way up here when he should have kept him right about here. Yeah. And I think if they didn't put all that expectations and all that pressure on him, I think you would have seen a different player, personally.
Back then,
I don't think he would have been this 90-point scorer, but 60, maybe 65 points.
Do you remember? Do you remember the summer that Radulov had to re-sign? I remember Drew. I had the exact same amount of points, 54 points that year, and everybody wanted to give fucking Radulov $8 million, but didn't want to even offer Drew anything, right?
And then when Bergevin said he gave him the same contract, I was like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. That's not true. You didn't want him. Well, I would take $6.5 million in Dallas because the stack's free over $6.5 million in Montreal.
Yeah,
And
let's call a spade too, man. It's fucking Texas. It's Dallas, fucking Texas. It's awesome. It's awesome.
I mean, I liked Radulov. I wanted him to stay, but we didn't get him. Since Patrick Waugh got traded, I don't hold too much to one player anymore because this is a business. Yeah. Eventually, your favorite player is going to go, right? After Patrick Waugh was a big Koivu fan. He didn't go he did go to Anaheim eventually, but his career was already pretty much over then.
Carey Price, another big one there.
Carey Price, I love Carey Price. I really, 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 it really rots me that they lost that cup, and not because of the team, but because I wanted to see Weber and Price get their cup. Because I knew I knew it was the last. You're never going to see that again. Yeah, and I think that's what bothered me the most about them losing. Even though I didn't think they were going to beat Tampa anyway, I just was like, well, I didn't think they were going to beat Toronto, and I didn't think they were going to beat Vegas. Yeah. You know what I mean? And here they were, and once they lost Game 2, where they were kind of winning the game, or controlling the game, but they just couldn't score. That's when I kind of, I think this is. I don't think this is going to go the way we want it to, and I that's what I felt bad for. But
I remember watching,
and I still love that Vegas series, though. Wow, Lehkonen scoring that goal. Oh man,
I remember looking at Weber, thinking, "Oh my God, he's playing so good," and he was playing on a fucking broken wrist, dude. It's insane. It's insane.
Broken wrist, broken knee, broken foot.
I meant the ankle. I meant the ankle. Sorry. I meant the ankle, guys. The broken ankle.
Oh, his wrist was all. You're right. Yeah, his wrist was all messed up too.
Do you remember
the
back?
Fucking ankle.
Do you guys remember the season before that when Kiprios or whatever it was said that
he's going to retire?
He was kind of telling the truth at the time. He just didn't realize what kind of fucking warrior Shea Weber was. But I mean, he was telling the truth. Now that you look back at it, that he had that injury for the whole fucking year, right? That was the truth. That's fucking crazy.
Weber, I think Weber would have played another year if he thought the team could get back to the Stanley Cup Finals.
You think so?
Yeah.
Warrior, man.
I think Price would have too.
Wow.
Because I think Price's knee was just as bad in those playoffs as it was last year.
Price had other demons he was dealing with too. That had to be addressed.
They're the same thing too. Yeah. Like when you get all those drugs for your fucking injuries all the time, dude. It kind of it all slides in, man. We don't realize enough how mental health connects into all those things too, and where it's hard, man. It's hard. It's easy to just.
Alcohol is a different demon, though, man. Alcohol is different. Yeah. Whenever that comes into play.
And I alcohol and painkillers and fucking sleep pills, and because of this and because of that.
I think it started. Now this is just. I don't know the truth. I think it started with painkillers, and then it went to self-medication with alcohol, and then it went from there. And
I remember after I think it was the 17th season. I think that was it. Whenever could have been 18, but I just had. Watching Bergevin talk, I just knew there was something wrong with Carey Price. I had a guess at what it was, and it was this. That's what I thought it was back in the day. It wasn't based on much, but I grew up around that kind of thing, so I knew some of the signs to look for. I even reached out to a couple of friends. It's like, I think Carey Price is drinking. That's what I think is going on. And then 5 years later, it's like I got DMs the day that it all started rolling out. It's like, man, how did you know? It's like, fuck, you like, if you grow up around it, you can see it. You know what I mean? You see the love of people trying to cover up. I think it was Bergevin who gave it away the most. Bergevin was trying to cover it up, and just the love and the respect that he had for him. I don't know. I had a feeling back in the day, and based on that, it was sad.
Yeah. No, And, props for him for getting the help he needed and taking the time off. And Spencer Knight's now going through the same thing. I think it's a similar situation. And I think that's a good thing the league has. Now, there's a lot of things that Bettman does that I don't like, but I think putting this program out, I think is a really, really, really good idea.
Man, I could think of dozens of names through history that would have, and some of them would probably be still alive today if that was an option for them. Yeah. So I think I agree 100%.
I think we have to go back and respect Drouin going first, man. Going, hey, listen, I just ain't feeling well right now. We didn't went through the program itself, but he stepped out. He's like, I can't handle this right now. And I think maybe a year before Price, that might have inspired him a bit. It's tough. They're pride fucking people, those athletes, right?
And then here's the shitty part of fandom. Drouin took shit because he decided to take time off for his own mental health.
100%, dude. Price of fucking
and he's soft. He's soft, and he doesn't want to play. He's scared. No, the man had fucking issues. The man was battling insomnia, right? Because he had mental issues.
Yeah, no problem, man.
I'm sorry, but
I agree, man.
Like I have OCD. I have high to extreme OCD, so I understand what mental conditions, when a high anxiety and mental condition can do, and it really bothered me when I would read stuff on Twitter. I read stuff about Twitter about how he's a quitter and he's scared and he doesn't want to play. No, he's not. He's battling more than you imagine, right?
I agree, man.
And it's all up here. But I think
what's fucked up too, Trege, on that. He has that character. He doesn't even want to quit on Montreal. He still believes in it. He'd stay his whole fucking life getting shit on, screamed on, fucking attacked. He'd do it again for 5 years. He'd go in. He loves it.
If he was given a contract to stay in Montreal, he would take it.
I think so.
I guarantee he would take it. I think he likes being in Montreal. I think he loves it.
I said it again. I think it's yesterday, saying we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I want to be part of it. He just fucking said it like 2 days ago again.
Like, he is, and what he does in the community. No, you never hear about what he does in the community. Every charity, he's there. Every charity event, he's there. Every hospital visit, he's there. He goes and visits a hospital on his own. He got his own charity that helps the kids' hospital in Montreal. He is there for everything, right? And nothing. Chirps. Do, 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 do. Yeah. You know, oh, well, what has he done for us lately? And he hasn't scored a goal in over 2 years. The man was on a 9-point and 12-game stretch. But because they were all assists, good enough. Because it was all assists, it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You need an assist. You need a goal to get an assist, right? Like
I sent a tweet out, Treg, and I said, Jonathan Drouin is quietly racking up points right now. And then fucking Pat's like, yeah, but no goals. I'm like, yeah, that's how it's quiet. Goals make noise, man. Goals make noise.
I'm upset at people. Yeah, Drouin's been he's been bullied in this fucking market big time.
But and he's still wanting to stay in it. So props. You know what? If they offered him league minimum, sure, take it.
Yeah, I fucking won, Brian. Take that. Take that, man.
However, I think it would be a bad move for the organization. But anyway,
league minimum.
You go.
You're blocking
it's only because Trege's a fucking bleeding heart. That's why.
I just like Drouin. I like Drouin.
I know you do. Yeah, you can.
Back in the days, when the Rangers eliminated us after they fucking killed Kreider killed Price, right? And I think it's 2014, is it? Something like that. I think it's 14. Yeah, I tweeted right after that elimination for the Habs future, something like for the Habs future. I just plugged my fingers in my fucking ears until we get Jonathan Drouin. And that same fucking summer they got him. So you gotta know I love the guy, man. I asked for him and Bergevin gave it to me, man. Like it's insane, man.
I mean, like I said, I don't attach myself too much to any one player, but I like Drouin. I like what he's done in Montreal. I think he's gotten a bad rap. I think he's gotten, he was never going to be the player that he was propped up to be, and I never had expectations that he would be, and I think that's why I was able to appreciate what he did do. I think he's an excellent playmaker. I think he has good vision in the offensive zone. And I think he tries out there. A lot of people say he doesn't, but I think he does.
He does?
He's not great. He's not great defensively, but he tries.
He tries. He does
He-
back check a lot.
When Drouin has fucking chemistry with somebody, he has chemistry with them too.
Anderson,
Anderson
and
have
Kotkaniemi. Oh my
they had
God.
chemistry, man. They
That
did.
line worked early this season. They tried it, right? Kotkaniemi, Drouin,
Yeah.
and Anderson. And it was sparkling. The big bodies laying, bam, bang, boom, pow, 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 pucks flying around. It was beautiful.
I remember
Beautiful.
Drouin and Anderson used to do that, like the slap shot, ice the puck, and Anderson would just get there before the defenseman would. They did that 4 or 5 times
But
at the beginning of the
I
season.
told you that I believe that the creative fucking concepts of Martin St. Louis don't function with a guy like fucking Anderson that sprints to the fucking neutral and goes to the net. Where Martin's like, feel free to play the puck at the blue, and you can't always be creative. Sometimes you just gotta push through, man.
Yeah,
You
but
got
Pat,
to
push.
respect.
listen, he's having his best season Anderson's having his best season in Montreal this year. He's going to score 24 goals.
And he deserves it.
So, I mean, I see what you're
And that's
saying, but
That's more of the chirping that I can't stand at the trade deadline. Why did we trade Anderson? He's not going to. If he scored
trade him.
18 goals. Yeah, but if he scored 18 goals before the trade deadline, and at the end of the year he's got 25 goals, is he worth more at the trade deadline, or is he worth more on the draft floor? Is he worth more having scored 18, or is he worth more having scored 25? I gotta say, you gotta respect Hughes for not pulling the trigger. That's holding on. He's going to be worth more at the draft floor.
I wrote a couple of articles about trading Anderson and stuff like this because I thought, not because I want Anderson to go, but because I looked at what you could get in return.
Mhm.
Okay, so Hughes wanted a first-round pick. He wanted a top prospect, and he wanted a almost NHL-ready goaltender. Right? This was that's his wish list for this year.
Right.
Anderson could have got all three in a trade. You trade him to Calgary, you can get a first-round pick and Dustin Wolf easily for Anderson. Right? Maybe. Now, Calgary fans will lose their mind and think I'm a complete idiot. I know this because I wrote an article, put it out, and that's what they said in the comments. But Dustin Wolf's a small goaltender. He's only like 5'11", 6 feet tall. Nobody wants a 6 foot tall goaltender anymore. This is why he's not in Calgary. This is why he's still in, I guess, Calgary, because that's where they get their farm team now. So you know what I mean? Like he's with the Wranglers and not the not the Flames. So if he went to Montreal, he's ready for the NHL. He can go jump into the NHL anytime now. He's dominating the NHL. You have that young NHL ready because I don't think Primu's in the picture anymore. I don't think Primu's part of the future. I don't think Montembeau's part of the future either. Although I know you said earlier you'd like to see him take the reins.
I would like to see
it. I have like a specific opinion on Montembeau, man.
What's that?
I have a very specific opinion on Montembeau because it's not just about Montembeau. I don't think Kent Hughes wants to build a team that relies on having one of the top 5 goalies in the league. So if you're building around average goaltending, I think Montembeau's fine. I think you keep him, man. You don't want to be relying on the goalie stealing games, right?
Here's my thing on Montembeau. Last year, I couldn't stand Montembeau. I thought he was the worst goalie in the NHL.
Oh, man.
Right?
He hasn't hit the ceiling, man.
And then this year, completely changed my mind. However, I still see remnants of last year's Montembeau, if that makes any sense.
It does?
So, he has one more year of $1 million next year. If he can improve on this year, then yes, Pat, I think you're correct. Sign him to extend him to a longer deal, give him a little bit more money, and you know what? You run with Montembeau until you find a goalie that can be better than him, right?
Or you can find the next Jake Allen and run on a 1A, 1B.
I don't think they should have extended Jake Allen, to be honest.
No, not Jake Allen himself, but find a younger one. What I mean, like a 1A, 1B fucking thing going on.
I know what you're saying. I'm just saying.
Okay, cool.
I don't think they should have extended Jake Allen for another 2 years, personally.
I think they should have, but they should have traded him right away on that sweet contract the same summer. Like, bam, bam.
He was a UFA. They could have traded him at the deadline and got something really good for him as a UFA, as a rental.
And then
Pittsburgh was looking for goaltending
this year, right? Yeah.
Well, Pittsburgh was looking for a goalie, but no one really had a goalie to give away, or that they wanted to give away, right? And Pittsburgh's not going to trade for Allen with 2 more years.
And now sorry. I'm not sure
Yeah.
where I read today that what's his face in Philadelphia.
Fletcher,
No, the goalie, the guy
Carter
that's-
Hart might be
Yeah,
available.
Carter. Thanks.
Carter Hart?
Sorry, man. I don't. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
spaced out. Carter Hart is gonna be hitting his fucking ceiling soon, and the Flyers are looking to rebuild right now. Like it's total shit. Does he
And
want to
they
waste
said
his
that
prime?
there's another goal at Arison
Yeah.
or something like that. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
I think Carter
So-
Hart's the most overrated goalie in the NHL.
I
I
think
don't
so.
like Carter Hart at all. I don't think he's that good of a goalie.
I agree.
Is he better than Montembeault?
Who cares if you're not building your team around a goaltender? Then
No,
that
I get
shouldn't
it, but
fucking matter.
but is he?
I don't know. To be honest,
Right now,
It's arguable.
I would say yes. Right now, however,
I think just because he
Again-
can play 60 games, I don't think it's because
Montembeault only has 2 years in the NHL, whereas Carter Hart is on his fourth year now, fifth year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
So
50.
give Montembeault another year. Let him. If he, like I said, if he improves on this year, then I think you have something there. And then you go, all right, you proved you belonged here. Here's your 3-4 year contract at $3.5 million or whatever the hell you want to give him.
And I mean, to be honest, if you need to upgrade your goaltending whenever you're going to start taking swings at the
feel like
fences, it should
the
be the
last
last
thing.
thing you're doing.
Yeah, I agree. The
Yeah.
last thing you do. Yep, for sure.
And for the past 15 years, they built around Carey Price.
Yeah.
Rightfully so, but Carey Price was a different.
Historically, dude, we've always built around
he was
around goalies in
we did.
Montreal.
We did.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
And we've
go all the way.
we've been spoiled as a fan base because of it.
What?
Now we have
You got-
like, you know what I mean? Like you see a goalie steal a game, and it's like they're not supposed to be doing that. Like
They're not
yeah,
supposed
they
to
are.
be doing
Yeah.
the Carey
Yeah.
Price thing.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
If
That's
you
why
look
they're
at
paid.
Montreal's history, you go all the way back. You can go all the way back to Jacques Plante.
Yeah, Ken
Then you had
Dryden.
Gump Worsley. Then you got Ken Dryden in the 70s. Then you had a couple years where you're messing with, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember these guys' names, Doug Sotart, Denny Heron, and Michel Larocque. You're messing with those guys, and then all of a sudden Steve Penny's there. Then all of a sudden Patrick Waugh comes into the picture. So every
And then the great
decade-
Jose Theodore, right?
Yep.
and
was
then it was
gonna-
Theodore, and then, but even before Theodore, you messed around with the Jablonskis and the Thibaults and the guys like that. And then
Run,
Theodore
Tugnut.
came.
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
I loved Ron Tudnut. Anyway, and Stephane Fisset for 2 games, and then you come into Theodore. And Theodore was hit or miss. Good season, bad season. Good season, hanging out with the Montreal mob one season, cleaned it all up for the next season, vice versa.
Nice.
And then
Who's the
after
French
him,
guy?
you went. Who's the what?
The French guy that gold for us for a few years. I forgot his name.
Theodore?
No, from
Cristobal
France.
Huet.
Yeah.
Huet.
That. Yeah. You said it.
Yeah, that was after
That's the one.
him. So then you had the Cristobal Huets and the David Abishires. And
Brassicos.
Bichère.
hey, I'm going to defend Rassico here.
Yeah. Here we go.
Rassico was 17-5-3 in 1993 as a backup goalie, with a .338 goals against average and an .892 save percentage, my .889. Patrick Waugh that year had a .337 goals against average, and .892 save percentage.
So the same thing.
Same thing.
Wow.
Do you know why he's called Red Light? Because in his first game played, he let 3 goals in on 6 shots. And when they interviewed him, he said, "Yeah, I think I sunburnt my back of my neck.
I remember that.
with a red light." And that's why his nickname. And that's why his nickname became Red Light Rassico. So I will defend Andre. I'll defend him. He is not the worst Montreal goaltender by far.
Rightfully
By
so.
far.
However, he only lasted like a year and 10 games or something, like that
Right.
one season and like 10 games. But anyway, if we go on, we're going to have periods. We're going to have this great goalie for a long period of time. Then we're going to go through a little period of shitty goalies or okay goalies, and then we'll get that great goalie again. Because you're right, we're spoiled. We'll find that.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll
so
find
let's say
that
the rough
French
somewhere.
Canadian
In-
goaltender
Yeah.
that's going to lead us to the promised land.
okay in recent history, let's say no more than like 12 years back. Who's the goalie you were wrong about that you were convinced was going to be this shit? Did we have one?
Halak, I
Thatcher
guess.
Demko. Oh, with us? For us?
Yeah, with us.
I thought Halak, he was what he was. I think he was at his peak when he was in Montreal, and he took him
Yeah,
to that.
he sure was. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't mind them getting rid of him and staying with Price, because I knew he wasn't going to get any better.
It would have been nice to get a bit better of a return, honestly. Like it was the buzz. Like,
The fucking buzz, you're right. Yeah.
Man, like it was a buzz that summer. Who's he gonna get? Because we had these two goalies that are just gonna be fucking the top of their game, right?
They didn't really get much for him.
Lars Eller.
Well, hey, Lars Eller I liked Lars Eller. There was nothing wrong with Lars
I
Eller.
like Lars Eller too, but I don't think
who
that's...
named his kid after Lars Eller. Who named his
What?
kid after
That's
Lars
crazy.
Eller?
That's crazy as fuck, man. Oh, nice.
I named the girl Eller because he was the prettiest guy on the team. That's why we did.
Came close to being called Sheldon.
Here, let me see. You know what? I'll say this. I thought Mike Condon was going to be a better goalie than what he was.
There you go. That's a great answer, man.
I have Lindgren.
I had to kind of look up some goalies from the past, but
I had Lindgren.
I thought Mike Condon would.
I thought Lindgren
Charlie
was...
Lindgren?
Yeah,
Charlie Lindgren was terrible.
Yeah, I thought he was coming up, man. Like for a few years in a row, and it didn't happen.
To go even more recently, I would say Caden Premu. I had high hopes for Caden. I thought Caden Premu would be the one to take over. It doesn't look like he's going to.
Do you think it would have been smart to hang on to Dubnyk back in the day to back up Price?
Ooh,
we traded
Ooh, that's a strong fucking point, dude.
Yeah, but no one knew.
It's like that. It was a revolving door of what's that?
No one knew what Dubnyk was back then. Like, he was a late bloomer.
And we didn't have him for long. I think we had him for like a week and a half or something like that.
Something like that, and he never played a game in Montreal.
No,
he played
I think it was summer. I think
Hamilton or somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that fucking trade.
But we didn't get anything. That was a future consideration.
Wow, we don't talk about that enough. Devin Dubnyk came fucking... Yeah, he had a pretty good career, right?
He came into his own in Minnesota. It was Minnesota.
He won a Minnesota. He did all right in Edmonton.
Yeah.
But he really would. I think did he win the Vezina in Minnesota, or he was runner-up or something like that for the Vezina?
Oh, he was runner-up.
He had a couple good seasons, yeah.
Yeah. We don't. I mean, I'm just looking over old goalies here, and there's really no Dustin Tokarski. There's not a lot to choose from.
I still think to this day that Bergevin's worst trade was trading Cassian for Scrivens. And now, hockey royalty. Listen, hockey royalty goes down. The carry price goes down, and you spend on non-roster player on the fucking best loser in the entire league. That's what he did. That's what he did to replace Carey Price. And then everything after that. Had we kept Cassian, we wouldn't have had to trade for Shaw, right? Just snowball effects, right?
I'm sorry, but that meme of Steve Ott going fucking faces at Zach Cation at the other bench is worth not keeping Cassian in the end, because then we lose that fucking gif, and that's criminal. Can't lose that gif, man.
And then Jack Eye kicks the shit out of Cassian and everything.
Yeah,
so,
it's poetic.
There is that. It's
all
a full circle.
comes full circle, right? I mean, this goes. I mean, you could say a lot of things. Like, if you don't trade Sergachev for Druin, right? Then I don't know. I really don't. I lost my train of thought on that one. But there is a trade.
Welcome to Habs N Dabs.
Welcome to Habs N Dabs.
Maybe I'm high. I got to get more to drink. But
go ahead, dude. Go right ahead. If you want to keep on going, up to you. If you want to cut it soon,
man, I don't mind talking hockey. But
you want to go get a drink then. Don't dry up,
go get
dude.
a drink.
For sure, dude.
I'll be back.
For sure.
There is a trade there where I say if you don't trade this guy, then you don't get this guy, then you don't have to get that guy. And anyway, I don't know if it has to do with Subban or... And I do wear pants, by the way, even though...
Oh, shit! But Blaine told me that already. It's not even a scoop. I had that info already. Yeah, he said the quality of the show really increased since you started wearing pants. Actually,
Oh, I remember that. That was hilarious.
hilarious.
That was a long show. That draft deadline show. Holy, or the trade
Oh,
deadline
it's
show.
fun. We had the chance
It
to
was
talk
fun.
with people, man. Yeah, I'd do it again.
Yeah.
Love trying to get people from other shows. Yeah. What are you smoking, dude? What's that?
Get diamonds.
Ooh, what is it? What's like the terps?
No, it's actually everything but the terps.
Oh,
it's
it's pure. Oh, so nice.
Pure THC, basically.
Basically, a little cloud of water that you blow out.
All right, I'm back.
Welcome back, Treg.
Blaine's listen. Blaine says a lot of shit because between the only reason our show even has people watching is because Matt and I.
So yeah, I gotta show it right here, man. I have fucking dude. Look at this shit.
What's he doing?
I won
Is that
that
my
from
Funko?
Matt. Yeah, the Henrik Lundqvist one I won
Lundqvist.
from you guys, from Matt.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, random raffle on Twitter back then. And
I
yeah, man,
think
if
we're gonna
during
do
the
another
same,
one.
yeah.
Well, I
was
got
fucking happy. Look, I still have
I
it
got one of those
in my-
mystery bags at Christmas time, and they have a retro jersey in there, no name or nothing on it. So I think I might. I'm thinking about auctioning it off on the
That's
one of
awesome,
those
man.
follow things to get a couple more followers or whatever.
Yeah, us
Can do
oldies
that.
have been slacking on that follow thing, right? Like if you hit like a spot where you're like, yeah, that's enough. I don't need to promote for that anymore. Right?
I'm at whatever I'm at. I don't even know what I'm at anymore, and I don't care. I used to look all the time. I used to be like, I need 200 more to get this, and
yours must be crunching
now
my
I don't
numbers
care.
for sure.
I was the same way. I think
I don't have
it
a
was
lot.
like
Yeah.
2,500 there. I was like, that's enough. I
Treg
don't
has
care.
to be crunching my. Oh no, not even, dude. That's fucking surprising, dude.
Follow
you're
Trege
everywhere.
Wilson. They're the 6 people that are
I,
watching.
Yeah. We get a
I don't know. What
couple
do I
of
get?
these,
2,500?
tens.
2,800. I got 2,800.
Dude, that
That's
is
awesome.
fucking impressive.
It is.
Matt got like 13,000.
I
think
remember
they're all
when Matt.
fake.
I remember when Matt had
Oh,
like
Matt, yeah.
1,500, 2,000, and it was
Dude.
like, it's just the content he puts out. You know what I mean? It's like nice, easy like content to read. It's like updates. It's news. He grew his account the way to grow an account. Like it was smart. I remember back in the day.
Oh yeah, he was an OG for when I stepped in hockey Twitter. He was in the oldies already, rocking it way before me, I believe. I did have my account inactive for a super long time, where it was just sleeping every deadline, every 1st of July. I would log on and follow Pierre Lebrun. That was pretty much what Twitter was for back then. And then I started being a stupid troll, I guess.
Do you guys remember No Foolin' Fred Poulin? Remember him?
Who?
No Foolin' Fred Poulin?
Nope.
No Foolin' Fred Poulin? No?
No.
He was like the original Habs. I think he had 15,000 followers whenever I was like, and I would have 100 followers, and I was just honored that he would even talk back to me. It was hilarious.
That's you and John for me, man. But hang on, it just reminded me something I wanted to ask Trege earlier about Evil Bergie. I'm not asking you any scoops. I know you have some privilege. No, hang on. We went over that one too fast. I'm not asking any privileged information here. I just this one question. You can answer by yes or no. You don't have to, of course. Is it someone we know the name and face of on Twitter? Like the real person? Does he have an account that we all know in the Twit fam that I could identify and be, oh fuck, it's that guy? Like, would I know? Would Brian know? Would the Twit fam know?
Good question.
I'm not asking who it is. Just want to make it clear.
Evil Bergie is a person that
We all know.
you would all know. Yes.
With a real name and face or not?
Yes.
Like it's not Joel.
Oh, like who?
Joel LaPlante, like a real name and face.
Potentially. Potentially-
It's a real
potentially
name and face
Krista.
on
Oh,
Habs
shit.
Twitter.
Shit.
Whether people like
That's
this
awesome.
person or not.
Oh,
different
that's another
story,
big hint.
But it's a
Ooh.
You know who everybody thought it was? Do you remember Nick in the Park?
Yes.
Everybody thought it was Nick in the Park
It's
because
not Nick in the Park.
he disappeared around the same
Oh
time
my god.
as Evo Bergie. What?
Yeah.
No, I'm
It's not-
just,
it's not Nick in the Park.
you just comfort it's not him. So if we ask like 1,000 times, we can really figure out who it is, dude. Think about it. You just said no, it's not. That's I see an opening there, man. Keep asking.
I'll
Keep.
tell you too. It's not anybody on this show.
Oh,
So it
there,
still could be Krista.
it is
It's not
Krista.
anyone on this
It's
show.
Krista.
Nothing indicates that it is not Krista. No fucking evidence.
I'm not going to say if Evil Birdie has tits or not.
Oh.
Oh no!
Oh
Oh, right.
shit.
It's
I'm
Aaron
sorry.
Manning.
Oh shit. Wait. What kind of tits?
What?
I did not. Hey, I did not say if they were female tits or man titties.
Wait.
So
Oh, that's shame on you for even suggesting there's a difference. There's no difference between titties.
well, men can have babies. So that's what I've been
Yeah,
told.
that's what I mean.
Yeah. We can menstruate if we want.
Aaron Manning. Well, there's a
I didn't even think you heard it.
Oh.
I thought that slipped through.
there is a dedicated woman. That's what I'll say. Dedicated.
Dude, well said.
Dedicated
well said.
women. I
It's funny
had
'cause you
a
have
few discussions, we'll call them, with Miss Manning. I'll tell you, she doesn't resort to anything bad, really, when she
Right.
discusses. However, Kotkaniemi is the greatest hockey player that ever lived and ever will live.
Let me put it this way. I have never been more mansplained anything than I've been mansplained by fucking Aaron Manning.
Have you noticed Aaron Manning's not always right when she mansplains? And heaven
I've
forbid
noticed-
if you correct her.
Do you remind her
I
right
noticed.
how she came alive on Twitter, like her rising when it was like?
Do I
She was
remember?
she literally
She
was
was
tweeting shit like, "Oh, admittedly, I just started watching hockey and I humbly I don't know much about it." And the next week, she fucking knew it all,
Yeah.
man. Like it was
I've never
hilarious,
seen
and
more
that really
threads
pissed.
in my life.
You know, I wanted to bring up
Red,
another account.
red.
I won't say the handle, but there's a girl on Twitter in the Twit fam. We know her as Jess. I don't know if you guys know who it is. She loves Kotkaniemi. She draws hard. She's amazing. You're allowed to like you're allowed to love the player you love. You don't have to try to justify it as a fucking fact. Like Aaron
Yes.
Manning wants
Yes.
to prove you that fucking
Yes.
Kotkaniemi is the best guy there's ever been. Like, yeah,
That's a good point. You are allowed to
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
who you like.
Yeah.
100%.
I like Druid. Like I said, I like Druid.
Nice game.
No, but I mean, like, it's true though, because like you
Yeah,
could
it
be
is.
like, Treg, you could cherry pick stats, or I could cherry pick stats, and we could butt each other's fucking heads this entire time as to who is Drew and good, is he not good? That's the difference. Like, you're allowed to like who you like. You don't have to fucking make me see your point. You know what I mean? Like, you don't
However,
have.
I like Druid, but I also know Druid's not the player we all thought we were going to get, and
That's why you like him.
I think that's why I like him. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
and you know, I can say, yeah, he didn't work out in Montreal, but did he not work out? Then my argument is, but did he not work out because he gave up and just wasn't good enough and didn't try, or did he not work out because we put his expectations way the fuck up here, when really he was only this type of player?
A bit
So
of
that's
this,
my argument.
bit of it,
We had
of
to-
this, and a bit of that, right? Like
Yeah,
it's not one thing. It's not that
Call
one
him A,
thing.
call him B. Yeah.
You look
Exactly.
back too, and like we had a false flag of what our team was at that point too.
Mhm.
So we had this idea that we should be competing, and then we're adding Jonathan Drouet, and that's going to be the like the thing that puts us over the top and kind of thing. But to be honest, our team should have been rebuilt in 2013, and again,
should have been.
it should have been. It should have been. When Bergie got here, he should have blown it up. He should have.
And
Because he
again,
had a fucking young core that was about to become his core that he never invested on, right?
Yeah.
Should have blown it up.
And if you ask me, I think he wanted to, and I don't think. Again, I think the 100th anniversary and all this other bullshit that was going on with Montreal.
Rick
Yeah,
Dudley,
no,
dude.
we-
Rick Dudley,
Yeah.
dude. Remember when he left? That's when the new Bergevin just fucking came out, man.
Yeah.
When Rick Dudley
Yeah.
left for the Carolina Hurricanes, then suddenly Bergevin had asked Dudley to come coach him. You're not going to keep overstepping the coach you asked to come, right? So he was taking Dudley's fucking influence all the way for sure, right?
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Bergevin needed a Jeff Gordon.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
big time.
needed a Jeff
Wait,
Gordon
hang
type
on.
person.
Big time.
But it wouldn't work. He's a control freak. He can't have that. It wouldn't have worked. You can't. You wouldn't.
If he had
He's
it from
working
the
under
start,
somebody right now.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, he's not a
working
G. He's
under-
not. He's not taking that kind of decision for. Like he was the GM. It was his fucking club. Nobody was gonna come
I
tell
see
him.
what you're saying. I see what you're
But
saying.
I see what you're
probably
saying.
right.
But I think there had to be a buffer between him and Molson. I think there should have been a buffer, and if he would have had that from the start, it would have been a different story. I mean,
And
he
at the
still
same
would have
time-
been the GM.
Molson might need to own some of that too. Then you know what I mean.
Yeah.
If he
Yeah,
comes in,
that's what I'm saying.
you give me the job, the general manager job, and then I
Guys.
tell you that this is what needs to happen with your team as the man you hired, and you say no, that'd sour me too.
Realistically, guys, how many contracts do you think were overstepped by Molson? I think at least 3.
Contracts?
Subban, Price, Gallagher. Molson stepping down, saying, "I love this guy. Give him money." I'm almost convinced.
I think
You think Molson paid
No.
Gallagher?
I think Gallagher
Possibly.
was all Bergevin. I think it was all Bergevin.
I think there's
Price,
some Molson.
Price for sure. Subban 100%.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
let's- two out of 3. I'm happy, guys. You know what? Fuck it. I won.
you win. That is good. That is pretty good.
I'm
That's
happy with
why
that.
Price got his contract, though. If you didn't give him his $10 million, he's going somewhere else.
Oh, twice. He's getting 12.
100%.
He's getting 12.5 somewhere else, dude. Think someone
Here's
doesn't
what
lay out 12.5 for Carey Price on the free agency market is fucking... Dude, he gets what
Here's
he
what-
wants, man. What he wants.
Here's what I said. 2 moves that he had to make. He had to make them. But it ended up being his downfall with signing Price to a $10.5 million contract and firing Terrian to hire the exact same coach in Julian.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
are 2
100,
moves
yeah.
that he had. But he had to make them. He had to make those 2 moves. But they ended up being big parts of his downfall.
Well, my biggest issue with Bergevin was the old boys club with hiring of the coaches. I think right from the start, he should have brought a new coach in. Like, not this rehash old coaches. Because Terrian's a good coach, but a terrible player. He's no good to players, especially rookies.
100%.
I love
No.
Terrian as a coach, but you have to realize he has a shelf life. That's all there is to it. He's
I
got
think- I
a
think
5-year window where he can do
Oh,
something
man.
with a
I
young
think-
squad, and then you got to get rid of him.
I think you can have him behind the bench for as long as you want, but you do not go near the fucking room. Just feel the bench, man. Write the plays you
Yeah.
want to play and
Terrian-
play the
yeah,
fucking bench.
That's part of Terrian's ego too. Terrian needed that control in the room and stuff like that. He's an
Maybe.
ego freak too. You gotta
Nobody.
tell him this.
I'm
It's the same-
comfortable saying.
Listen, that's the same thing as you saying that Molson shouldn't tell fucking Bergevin to not rebuild. You can't hire a guy to stand on your fucking bench and then
All
say,
I'm
but
saying,
don't go in
Brian,
the room.
is I feel like Michel Terrien is honestly the best bench coach in the league. That's why I'm trying to feel the guy's hot. Shove him there, bam, bam. The fuck, we stole fucking games. We won all the fucking overtimes because he could feel the bench. Who's ready to go right now? You? Okay, you go. Bam, bam. Switch lines. Send this guy. It was
When
the
the answer's
master of
always
it.
Dale Weiss, it's hard to be wrong, man.
It was more than that,
Hey,
dude.
Pat has a good
Yeah.
point. Terry,
Yes,
even
it
when
is.
Terry was in Pittsburgh, they were a winning team, and the only reason they fired him was because he could not get over that hump and win to the playoffs. The problem with Terrian, though, and we interviewed Terry Ryan on our show there and he said Terrian is terrible to the players. Like, it's Terrian, and everyone else is just a slave to what I want you to do. He hates rookies, right? If you don't earn your spot right off the bat, you're never going to get it, right? That's just the way he operated. He was old school
demands, man.
coach.
It's high to demand. Yeah,
Right?
I see it.
However, the issue, you're absolutely right. When
I love
they
it.
fired Terrian to hire Julian, it was like, why bother? Why did you bother
Why not?
firing Terrian?
And
Right?
it was
Like,
basically
Julian-
because of the fucking fight in the dressing room, remember? Fucking Price
Yeah,
and then
that-
had his fucking fight, and that's what it ended up
Well, what I think happened is Price basically said, "I'm gone," or he did the Patrick Waugh. It's either me or him,
being. Could have been.
right?
Who?
Yeah,
We're
I
talking
remember
about
that thing.
E or who?
I remember
think
there was a big thing because he stood up for fucking Shaw or something like that. He was
Mm.
chirping at Shaw, and Price said something, and it was like, "Fucking, why don't you just concentrate on stopping pucks? Like, fucking,
Yeah.
shut your mouth, right?" And I remember that clear as day. That was right
Yeah.
before he got let go.
And I think Price was basically like, "Yeah, I'll fucking show you." And I
Yeah.
think he went up and said, "You either have me or him."
It's possible.
And Bergevin, and then all of a sudden Julian became available because Boston fired him. And as soon as Julian became available, but I mean, Bergevin could have fired Terry and used a bench coach till the end of the season. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah. Right.
Right. And then my biggest thing was I thought Dom Ducharme was going to be a totally different coach.
So did I.
Because when he was in Halifax, he was like Martin St. Louis. The players went out and did their thing. They went out and mind you, he had a lot of talent in Halifax too. So, that might have rose-colored glassed my vision on the whole thing. And then he was the exact same coach as Julian. The exact same coach.
But he stepped in Julien's system. Like, how are you going to be someone else completely? Like, I wonder if
it was just
day one, you tell fucking Dominique Ducharme, there you go, it's your fucking bench, build your team, right? Bring in your own assistants, coach the way you want it. We're following your method now. I think that would have been completely different, but we didn't. We brought him in. We told him, look what Claude Julien is doing. Do the exact same shit. That's NHL coaching for you. I think it's hard to find a better pedigree than Dominique Ducharme as a path to the fucking NHL, right? It was perfect. A+ is everywhere, man. He won everything. Mm-hmm. He was on the perfect path to. It's so fucking disappointing to me that this one experience has seemingly burned his fucking name off the map. Because he was deserving of it.
Personally, I think Joel Bouchard would have been a better pick for coach.
I agree.
Personally, that's what I personally think.
Do you think it was a clash of fucking cocks with Bergevin going fucking sparks not working?
What, him and Bouchard or him and Ducharme?
Bouchard.
I don't know what it was. I think Bouchard had aspirations of becoming a GM, to be honest with you.
So it would make sense that fucking characters would clash then, right?
So, I think Bergevin was... I think they both are kind of independent, and I think Bergevin was trying to control what Laval was doing too much, and Bouchard was kind of like, no, I'm the head coach here. I'm going to do what I want to do, because Bergevin was GM in both... Although Lapointe or LaPerriere, or one of them was kind of interim, the assistant general manager.
I don't remember which, but you're right.
It lost something. Anyway, LaCarrier. I don't know. Anyway, French name. Anyway, he was kind of the GM, but I think Bergevin was really doing everything, and I think Bouchard was just like, fuck you, I don't want to be here no more. And
now he's on TVA Sport. Yep.
Yeah.
And weirdly, people were debating on Twitter, Ducharme, fucking Bouchard, Ducharme, arguing, who would you prefer? People were saying even out of the own ballpark here in Montreal with people like Bob Hartley and what's his face from Tampa with the scar in the face. He's fuck. I love him, dude. What's his name, man?
Boucher.
Yeah.
Boucher.
Thank you. Yeah, Boucher. Yep. Which I would give the guy a shot, man.
Boucher got a shelf life. There's the problem with Boucher. He's never been with a team more than 3 years.
Yeah, but you learn, man. You
first
learn
year,
from your experience. It's forgivable, man. Let's try him again.
But listen, it's a trend. Every team he's been with, the first year is excellent. One of the top teams in the league. Next year, not as good. Third year, they don't make the playoffs. Now, why is that? Both teams he coached, the exact same thing happened.
A strong, immediate message in the room where it sparks the fucking motivation for a year, and then you can sustain it. It's the Max Domi effect, they call it.
I like Martin St. Louis. I think he's going to be a successful coach. I think he's going to help. Although I'm going to wonder if he's going to be the coach that's going to be here when they're contending.
I agree.
That's my what I want.
It makes sense.
Is he going to be the guy that gets them there, and then you bring another guy in to win it, or are you going to stick with them for the 3 to 5 years it takes you to become a contender?
Do you think we could have stability in Montreal the way, let's say, I don't know, markets like, is it the Preds that keep their coach for a long time usually? That people sit in place.
The Preds had their GM forever.
Yeah, David Poy, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, do you think we could sit on Martin? Do you think we could sit on Yeah, but it's been a while, right? It was there forever. Do you think we could sit on Martin Saint Louis for like, let's say, 7 to 10 years? Is that too
If
long?
you start winning.
As long as the trend keeps going up. Like,
Yep.
It's okay to keep them here. It's okay to keep them now when they're losing because we know they're supposed to lose. We're okay with that. I'm actually quite surprised with how okay Montreal fans have been with this, or the majority of them.
It makes me sad, dude.
It's I think it's a process too. I don't think it was like it wasn't immediate. It wasn't immediate for me. I was still fucking tired.
Still doesn't feel right, man.
I had to stop halfway through the year last year. Like I had to. Because it was ruining my night.
I was calling for a rebuild for years. I said, listen, this team's going to have to suck for 3 to 5 years. People are going to have to get used to it. Because if we don't, we're going to be mediocre forever.
I think the problem was the fact that we were all geared up and ready to do it, and then we fucking made the playoffs, and now we've just prolonged it a little bit. I think that's a big deal.
The Stanley Cup final ruined it for everyone because the very next year, everyone thought we could get back to the same spot.
Right.
And
the bubble ruined it too. Like we shouldn't have made that. We shouldn't have made that.
No.
Like I think we got Gooley that year, and I think that was their target lower in the draft. So I don't really think it matters. But again, it masked what we should have been doing that summer. We should have been doing things. I get trying to go for it with the realignment because a Canadian team is going to the third round no matter what, right? I get it. But I think we were all geared up, ready, because 2017 sucked ass. 2018 was a little better, but still wasn't good. And then we had these couple of years of fucking going to cut. They were fun. They were wonderful. But I think it prolonged the end goal. I think it's going to make our rebuild a little bit longer than we wanted it to.
And it gave fans a false sense of this team is not as bad as what it really is.
Yeah.
But it is
a retool on the fly might work.
Correct.
Yeah.
No.
And then, especially since we had no one to trade at the time too. Like there was no one.
And then Price goes down, Weber goes down, and then the whole team just goes to shit. And Dom Ducharme made a couple good points in his interview where he said, I wish I would have known that we weren't trying to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no one told me we weren't trying to win. Like, I was trying to win every game. I was trying to, not tank, but he said, like, I was, I'm looking at the playoffs. And I'm trying to make this team make the playoffs, and nothing was working. But management could have came to me and said, hey,
play the kids, man.
Play the kids.
Yeah,
and he said I would have played the kids. I didn't know the direction we were going. Now, did he or didn't he? I don't know. I don't see any reason why he needs to lie about it, right?
I was gonna say he seems like a pretty honest person to me. So
that's what I mean. I don't see any reason
absolutely.
why. Like I don't think he knew the direction the team was going in, and he was playing his best players in the best spots that he thought would work. And I think he lost the room at some point.
I guarantee he lost that room. They came out and publicly said that they weren't going to fire him, and then it was after the All-Star break. Do you remember?
But you never say that. You never commit to not firing someone. That's the stupidest thing. I know, but you should never.
So that's why the timing is so fishy, though. Like the week that you have a chance to talk to all your players, and then fucking as soon as that's over, he was let go. It was fishy.
Hughes did say when they came in, after Gorton got hired and then Hughes got hired, he said, I'm not firing my coach. Well, he said, I'm not firing him.
He said he was going to wait till the end of the season
and assess
it at the end of the season.
And then all of a sudden they had that week off. They went into the All-Star game. They had that week off, and then they came out and said, okay, we're firing him and hiring Martin St. Louis. So either
St. Louis became available and they were going to do it anyway, or the team said, get it done.
Yeah. Listen, we got it. Like, because there was no captain then, so had to been like Gallagher or someone like that would have had to go in and say, "Hey, Ducharme's lost the room." Yeah, pull the plug.
Yeah.
That's all speculation on our part, of course.
And here's the thing.
I
I
honestly,
believe
truly believe it, though.
I went on record on non réclamé au balotage back then saying personally I think the room was lacking leadership too. I think Petrie doesn't act like a fucking baby like on the bench if there's Shea Weber besides him, but he's not there anymore. I think
Shea Weber was a big loss.
Yeah,
to their
I don't think
leadership
Petrie.
group.
You
so
remember the
many reasons.
fucking stares that Petrie gave to Ducharme on the bench live on fucking TV, dude. I don't think he does that with Shea Weber besides him. That's very un-Shea Weber like to do. Like you don't challenge your coach publicly like that. So I felt
Drouin
like
had a lot of issues with Ducharme too during practice.
Which is weird.
Practice, which is weird because Ducharme and Drouin worked together in Halifax and they worked really well together.
They won together, right?
If you watch the replays of some of them, it wasn't that Drouin was arguing with him. I think Drouin was like, I don't understand what you want me to do here. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was more of a, what are you getting me to do here? I don't get this at all, right? And then it was kind of a back and forth, but of course they made it look like Drouin was telling me he was a piece of shit or something. But
I like the second version more, personally. I'm going on record saying it. I like the drama, man.
But, I mean, I think Ducharme was trying to come up with ways to spark this team, and it just wasn't working. They just weren't clicking. Yeah. And the players were like, the young guys were like, hey, I'm just a young guy. I'm just going to sit here and do what you tell me to do.
Well, the young guys kind of had their young guy attitudes too, right? They had their little young guy click, the four with the when. You know what I mean? Like when Kotkaniemi flashed that in the playoffs, they had their little thing, and like. If you ask anyone, if there isn't, like, if all the legs and the cogs of the wheel aren't going in the same direction, you're not going to win anything anywhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. So even having clicks in your dressing room, that's no good.
But I think the veterans were like, what are you doing, man? Like
Shea Weber and Carey Price staring at you does something for sure, right? You do something stupid and you got Shea Weber and fucking Carey Price staring.
I'll never forget that
hurt,
time
man.
Carey Price got scored on and he stared down the bench. Remember that time? I forget what game it was.
I remember that.
It went to the end of the period. He was skating. He was just staring down the bench, like, "What are you fucking guys doing out here?" Like, and then the third period was a whole different period.
And I do believe that stare that Carey Price has also helped him be one of the best goalies in his generation, because shooters would have the same fucking stare at them coming for a breakaway or 2-on-1. Carey Price is getting in your head. That's the best goalie in the fucking world in front of you. You're shaking, man. You're not taking the same shot you take on anyone else, man.
You want an example of a fucking goalie in opposing heads? I don't even remember who it was. I think it was Sutter. There was two teams playing, and one of them was not even the Montreal Canadiens. Wasn't even playing the Habs. And he's like, are you going to like change anything because so-and-so's goalie? He's like, the only person we change our game plan for is Carey fucking Price. And like, they weren't even playing him. It's like, man, that's how you know, rent-free.
Yeah. I mean, say what you want about Price. Every player says he was the hardest goalie to play against. Every single one of them. Every year.
Crosby saying it.
They did the poll every year.
Yeah.
I'll never forget the save he made on Ovechkin. And Ovechkin stared up at the sky, then came over and went like this. Like, you have the best goal scorer in the league. And I'm sorry, but this guy is 38 years old and scoring goals better than Austin Matthews. Sorry, Toronto fans, but
you're not sorry. Nobody believes you,
Ovechkin's still a better goal scorer than your boy Austin Matthews.
Yeah,
that's a hot take, man.
Matt,
that's not a hot take. Matthews had one good season. He had one good season where he scored a 60-some-odd goals. That is it. That's the first time he hit 50 goals.
Do you agree?
First time he hit 50 goals.
Do you agree to coming back on the show? Hang on, Brian. Do you agree to coming back on the show when we with Fulton Reed from Twitter, just for having you guys argue and fight about Montreal and Toronto?
I'll come on.
Brian and I was
get along really good.
Sit back, get high, and have a fucking party.
Fulton, I can. However, you can't deny, or Fulton can't deny, how many 50-goal seasons Austin Matthews had?
I was going to see that right now.
Well, two. No, he had two, because the year before last year he had 50, I think.
Yeah, but you got points as well, boys. It's like 50 goals and like 67 points. It's fucking, you know?
Yeah, I get it. It's 60 once. And then 47, 41.
But he's never had 50. He only scored over 50 once.
Yeah, but it was 60
I mean,
though. just
But
give it to
to
him.
be fair, I think McDavid just scored 50 for the first time, didn't he?
yeah, but
No.
McDavid gets 100 and
Was
some
it?
odd points a season,
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah,
Right?
In half a season.
right? So Matthews last year had 60 goals and 106 points, and it's the only time he had more than 50 goals, more than 47 goals and 80 points in a season. And this is here's his 7th season, and he's probably not going to hit 80 points this year.
No, he's not going to hit 80 points. I don't think.
He got his 30th goal tonight, and what there's
16 games left, 17.
Yeah, about 16, 17 games, 58 games. So I don't know. He missed a couple too, so I don't know.
15? Does that make no? That makes 25, doesn't it? How many games did he play?
He played 58, but he didn't play them all. So Toronto's played 65 games, so they got 17 games left.
Right.
So in order for him to hit 50, he needs to score 20 goals in 17 games.
And he's not scoring at that clip. He hasn't been doing it all year.
I don't think he's going to hit 40, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but if anybody can go on a heater and fucking fill the net, it is Austin Matthews.
I'm not taking anything away from Matthews. Great goal scorer. Good hockey player. Yeah. I still don't put him in my top 5. And I never have.
Fair enough.
I still have Ovechkin over him. 38 years old, and he has more goals than Austin Matthews does right now. And he's 38.
I think Austin Matthews has a fucking nice chance of winning a Stanley Cup when he's playing with Voracek, Shea Weber, Andrew Ladd, and fucking Brian Little. That's all I'm saying.
Pavel Datsyuk should be on that list too.
Maybe we can bring back Marian Osa too. Think about it.
Yeah, and to get Carey Price over there.
Yeah. Isn't DiPietro still getting paid?
No, that's a good backup.
Might be. That was like 16 years he had to sign a 15-year contract. Man, those contracts are crazy.
Roberto Luongo, remember his contract?
Yeah. Sidney Crosby's contract was bananas. 12 years.
But Sidney Crosby took a discount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's only getting paid $8.6 million.
Or 8.7. Yeah, but that was 12
whatever
years
his
ago.
number is, yeah.
Yeah, Austin Matthews getting fucking wow.
That was a long-ass contract. That was right before the lockout when they eliminated those contracts.
When he becomes a UFA, he's going to sign with his favorite team growing up, Montreal Canadiens.
Exactly like Nazem Kadri. I remember that one.
I take Nazem Kadri.
Come back home, baby. You see the picture with him? Is him and his dad with the Habs sweaters?
Yeah.
He was a kid? Oh, man. Almost as good as PJs and bed sheets. Almost.
All
right, man. That was a long-ass fucking pod, boys. 2 hours and a half.
Yeah, my AirPods are going dead.
I saw you guys switch.
Yeah.
I saw. So, yeah. We've pushed it, guys. That was fun.
Yeah, Treg, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, no worries, man. I'm sorry. Listen, I felt bad for kind of ditching you there for the last time. And,
no worries.
Going on Tony's show there, but...
Who's that guy? Fucking Tony, man. I still can't believe it. Who's that fucking guy, man?
Number 3 fucking Weed Habs podcast?
I think so. Yeah, so from now on, I'm just going to tell Tony, Habs N Dabs, buddy. Sorry.
We might
even,
dude, after this show, we might even be number 2.
Well, I can take my shirt off and put you to number 1.
Do it, quick!
Jesus. And it only took us 2.5 hours to get there.
Boom.